Folks, how goes it? Today I am doing a live stream. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I'm going to show you guys my game room slash horror DVD room. It's mostly a game room, but I do also have pretty much all of my horror DVDs there. So we're gonna just do an old school style overview where I supply commentary and talk about some of the stuff that I have in this room. So I'll wait for a few more people to stroll in. I already have 3 folks in here, so thank you for stopping in. What's up, Billy? Thank you, my friend, for the support. But I'm not even sure where to start. So first thing I want to do here is give a general overview. Let me see if I could flip my camera. Does that work? Okay, that didn't work. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay. So this is the game room. So this is what it's like walking into the game room. It's a very small room. I have some, Christmas lights and like Halloween lights. These actually have gone out, so I need to replace those. But it gets good lighting in here. It's got a really cozy vibe when the lights are off and everything. Here, show you. See, it has a very nice and cozy vibe, which is exactly what I was going for when building the game room. So again, another thing is I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to respond to the comments. I will do my best because this is going to be, I'm going to be pretty focused on doing the commentary on all the stuff in this room. So, huh? Everything's sideways. The guy commented on it. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Well, I figured I'd do a sideways shot to show like the room and then I'd... Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay. Well, sorry about that, folks. How's that? Okay. Can't see as much, but yeah. Well, exactly. So camera didn't switch to landscape. So what am I doing wrong? Well, what's up, everybody? Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're going to get started here in a second. I'm just trying to figure out, like, the technical stuff here because, well, frankly, I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff. I'm a Luddite. So, Tay, I'm going to test it one more time. I'm going to flip it landscape. No? No, it just looks like you're holding it sideways. That's ridiculous. Okay. That's all right. Switch ratios once it's live. Well, that's good to know. Thanks, Billy. We don't need a wide lens, I guess, to go over everything, so that's fine, I suppose. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate the kind words. This is just a quick overview here, and I guess I'm gonna start with my Nintendo stuff. I mean, this is the most special stuff in the room for me. I have my handy dandy ladder. Actually, let's go into the closet. So in the closet, I have pretty much all of my boxed consoles here. So starting over here, we have the Master System. Let's see, we have Nintendo 64, Switch, GameCube, Dreamcast, the beloved Dreamcast, Panasonic 3DO. We have, if you could see up there, we have the Power Pad. We have the Virtual Boy is up there somewhere, and also the Super Scope and the Menacer. We've got the PS4. We've got the Nintendo NES, Wii U, Sega Genesis. This I found at a Goodwill years and years ago for like 20 bucks, which was beautiful. Down here we have pretty much all of my Atari and like first and second generation games. And we have replacement cases, controllers, light guns, spare controllers. Down here we have the PS5 God of War box. I picked this up recently. This is a nice 2DS XL here. It is very clean. Got it for a good deal a while back. And in here are more consoles. This is like breaking, buckling under the weight. But those are more consoles, pretty much, again, the first and second generation, like my Intellivision, my ColecoVision, Atari, things I don't play very often. In here are I used to have these up on my disc-based wall here. of video games, but this is essentially my big box PC collection. This is the Wii Zapper, which, let's put it up here somewhere. Yeah, this is how I do. All right, that's gonna fall on my head. So yeah, we have big box PC. We've got Age of Mythology, a lot of games I grew up with: King's Quest, Unreal, Die Hard, Nakatomi Plaza. This one's actually still sealed. Played it back in the day. Myst, nice big box version of Myst. Age of Empires 2. What up, T? Aliens vs. Predator. No One Lives Forever. I also have the first No One Lives Forever. I have Duke Nukem somewhere underneath here. SWAT 3. Roller Coaster Tycoon. I have the Blade Runner big box. Let me see. I'm sure some of you would want to see that one. We got Rainbow Six. Outlaws. That was off the Build engine, if I'm not mistaken. The Duke Nukem engine. A lot of these games. Nom was as well. Yeah, look at that. Duke Nukem 3D. Original big box, baby. It's a whole lot of bees. Blow it out your ass. Gotta love Duke Nukem. Definitely does not have a place in today's world. Sadly. All right, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has shown up and is checking out this live stream. I appreciate it. We're just getting started here. I showed my closet, my backup closet. You know, this just has a bunch of stuff in it. Here we have the Nintendo 2DS XL box, of course. Just a couple knickknacks here and there. I don't do many action figures and things like that. I like small ones that I could just kind of tuck into corners, you know, here and there. So this one my brother gave me. Actually, this is my brother's too, the Yoshi Amiibo. This I picked up from my buddy Alan. What's up, Alan, if you're watching? From the flea market. And this is my prized NES possession here, the action set, which comes with the Zapper, 2 controllers, Mario, Duck Hunt, and it's in immaculate condition. Just a little dusty on top. I gotta take these off and dust everything. But it's in beautiful shape. I have 3 NESs right now. I think 2 of them work, but that doesn't matter. I have the box, and that's what really matters to me. And I have the challenge set, I think it was called, here as well for the Nintendo. So, what's up, Gungshi? Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. We're just getting started here. All right, so for some of my boxed 64 stuff. Mario 64. You ever heard of that one? One of the greatest games of all time, of course. WCW versus NWO World Tour. I love the THQ wrestling games on the N64. Shadows of the Empire. Not a fantastic masterpiece of a game, but at the time it was pretty amazing, and I played it over and over and over, and didn't get very far, pretty much ever. We've got Perfect Dark. This I played to hell and back. This game, I did everything in. I unlocked everything. I remember there was like an unlockable alien character, and it was a crazy game. It was kind of a spiritual successor to GoldenEye. Hope to catch you at the flea market again sometime, homie. Oh yeah. I'm trying to place a face on the name, Jimmy, and I'm failing to do so. But yeah, I plan to make my way out to the flea market soon for sure. We've got Mischief Makers, which is one of the harder ones to find. This is one of my more rare 64 games here that I have in the box. It is not a perfect box. It looks like actually it was soiled on the end here, but I've had this for so long, and I still think it's cool. It's a great game, and that's really what matters to me at the end of the day is the game. A lot of these boxed games I got for really cheap at one of my old jobs. So Mario Kart 64, can't go wrong with that. Donkey Kong 64. We've got Turok Dinosaur Hunter. A lot of these games are games that meant something to me growing up. You know, like Mischief Makers, I rented all the time. Perfect Dark, I played all the time with my friends. All these games have a story. Turok, I used to play over my friend, his name was Chris Laria. And we went over, we played FIFA on the 64. We played Turok, and he showed me the secret in the beginning, right in the beginning of the first level, where you kind of turn around and go underneath the bridge into some water, and there's like a little secret area, kind of Doom-like. I really want to play this again. I have great memories of it. I'm sure it holds up pretty decently. I remember the control scheme was novel for the time because they didn't know how to program a first-person shooter on the 64. So, Jet Force Gemini. Another one, guys, to share a nostalgic memory. This one I rented after a baseball game in the 90s, late 90s when this came out. I was so excited to rent this. It was Christmas time. We brought it home. My family and I were decorating the tree, and I was playing Jet Force Gemini, and it was just one of those memories that you really hold on to. It was before, chaos struck the family, so it was a nice time. That was my brother. All right, so we've got some NES stuff here. This stuff is very ornately placed here. So we've got Air Fortress Bible Adventures, the great Bible Adventures. Time Lord. I'm a big AVGN fan, so I might drop some AVGN references here. Time Lord, Bart versus the Space Mutants, Ultimate Stuntman. I remember picked up that up at a Goodwill. Total Recall, WrestleMania Challenge. Let's do this carefully here. We've got some video game books, NES Works by Jeremy Parrish. This is a really cool one. This one is actually sealed. I had another one, but I ended up getting rid of it. I had 2 copies of it, essentially, is what I'm saying. Super NES Works here. We've got Top Secret Passwords. These are always fun. Super NES, NES Game Atlas. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, these are always fun. I picked these up at the local bookstore recently for a few bucks a piece, and yeah, I love these. By the way, here's my chair. Super comfortable $3 chair from Goodwill. I'm a Goodwill hound. Yeah, I love these. I love sitting down, just relaxing and chilling out on a night or on a weekend, just looking at these old books, just like I do the old magazines. I think it's so cool. I wish I could have my magazines displayed, but I frankly don't have. Oh, geez, I don't have the room right now, so it is what it is. What's going on? How do I? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. There we go. Doing this with one hand. Okay, so here we have. This is. I'm not sure if many of you guys have seen these. These are Famicom. This is a boxed Famicom game. The Famicom family computer, short for, was the Japanese NES. That's what they called it, the Famicom. So this is a game that actually didn't come out in the West. This is the first Ys game. Ys, it says there in katakana. Or maybe that's, yeah, it's katakana. And so this is an action RPG that never came out here. And I still want to play it. Because it's supposed to be great. Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. This is a great game. Many, many fond memories playing this with my mama. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles box, Duck Hunt, little fucked up. I was so pissed. I got this off of eBay, and whoever sent it to me put actual tape on the box. It was insane, and I ended up ruining the box. Anyway, Super Mario Brothers, gotta have that. Star Tropics, I love Star Tropics. I actually am going to be picking up a copy of Zoda's Revenge soon. That came into the video game store I work at. That's another story. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. We've got... This one's really cool. So we got a little Ryu. Hola. And we've got a little Mega Man. And back here, we have my least significant N64 boxed game. I love this game. I still think it's a fun baseball game. I played this for countless hours back in the 90s. Countless hours. I think I was the only one, though. This is really cool. I want to show you this. I'm going to check in with the comments here. Hope to catch you at the flea market. I've been playing GTA San Andreas a lot. I know you have that in your collection, right? GTA San Andreas? Of course I do. Where am I? There I am. Of course I do. That's a classic. This one here, this is another Famicom game. I just thought this was the coolest thing in the world, and it was super cheap. And also a game that did not come out in America. It's called Flipru, or Flipple. It's an exciting cube game. It's a decently, I don't know about exciting, but it's a pretty good puzzle game. Here, hold on one sec, guys. I gotta show you this, because it's so unique. All right, so we got a little book here, and then we have Flipru. Beautiful condition. I just think this is so cool. It's like a Sega Genesis style NES box or Famicom box, and it was put out by Taito. So Yeah, good game, but I really picked it up for the novelty of the box. I just think it's so cool for the 80s or early 90s. All right, so let's see. Let's put this over here. Sure. We've got another book here that I just couldn't quite fit. Actually, let's see. Ah! All right, there you go. Doesn't look fantastic, but it is what it is. We've got some miscellaneous manuals and posters from game boxes and stuff that I'd love to like hang up at some point. I'm not sure what exactly is here. We've got Sonic, just some of these old radical gaming inserts, you know. This is like a horror. Yeah, that's Evil Dead. Okay. And then we have a Phantasm poster, actually. So there you go. Yeah, there's plenty of room for posters in here. Well, not plenty of room, but there's some wall space left that has survived. All right, so I'm going to cover... Well, we'll do that in a second. I am not going to talk about every single game here, folks. I have over 450 NES games, you know, so I'm not going to be talking about every single one. But what I'll do is I'm going to pull up my chair. Ow, I just jammed myself in the back. Okay, so these are alphabetized to an extent. I mean, when it gets to the ones on top, they'll be in the area, but not, you know, necessarily exactly where they belong. I am going to take a sip of my black coffee here. All right, let's get started. Let's see. So we've got, of course, the Castlevania trilogy, which I love this trilogy. I have beaten 1 and 3. I have not beaten 2. 2 is a bitch and a half, and very obtuse, very confusing at points, and very difficult. Very difficult. I actually think it's even more difficult than 1 and 3. A lot of people disagree with me, but hey, that's just my opinion. Championship Bowling is actually a bowling game my mother and I used to play all the time until the Super Nintendo bowling game came out and we got that. 3D World Runner, 8 Eyes, which is kind of a Castlevania ripoff, which I loved as a kid, but is way, 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 way too difficult in today's age. We've got 1943, a great shooter. Abadox, another good shooter. Addams Family. Adventure Island, the classic. This one is Adventure Island 2, but it's a little beat up. I did get it to work, though. I cleaned it up, got it to work, so that's all that matters to me. We've got Castle of Dragon Captain Planet. Who remembers Captain Planet from the 90s? A superhero designed to save the environment from evil polluters. We've got Captain Comic. You gotta love the blue... What is this? Is this Wisdom Tree? No, Color Dreams. That's right. Color Dreams did the blue. Captain America and the Avengers. Lolo. I love the Lolo games. I thought I had the second one, but I don't, apparently. Adventures of Dino Ricky, a game I played a ton with my cousins back in the 90s. And let me know if you guys have any of these games or have any memories with these games. I'd love to see... Anybody, maybe there's a big fan out there of the Al Unser Jr. Turbo Racing. I just think stuff like that is cool because we all have games we remember and mean something to us. So we have California games, Cabal. This was sort of the first duck and cover shooter. You know, if you guys know Kill Switch on the PS2, there's a direct through line in terms of influence with Milton Bradley's published Cabal. This was an arcade game, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty confident it was an arcade game. But also a game I loved. The power is yours. We've got American Gladiators, Amagon, Archon. This is a chess game where chess... I say chess lightly. It's more like checkers. You move your pieces around, and once you connect with another piece, you go into like a battle arena mode, which I'm making it sound cooler than it is, but at the time, it was really neat, especially for somebody who wasn't interested in chess. I am now, but wasn't as a kid. Burger Time. My mom used to play this game all the time. She was very good at it, too. Another one, you'll notice a trend here. My mom and I played a lot of NES together. My father and I played a lot of Genesis in the early 90s. My mom and I played this. I remember one day during Lent. Yes, during Lent. We couldn't there were certain things we couldn't do. It's been a while, forgive me, but there were certain things we couldn't eat meat, we couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And so, but my mom was like, "Hey, we could play a video game though," and we played this from beginning to end on a Sunday during Lent, or maybe it was a holy day of some kind. Forgive me, I don't remember exactly what it was. Kill Switch was dope. I just got a copy finally very recently. Yes, that absolutely. Kill Switch is awesome and underrated. Bubble Bobble. I don't have Bubble Bobble 2, which is the hard one to find. A Boy and His Blob. That's a lot of bees. Break Time. Boy and His Blob. Birthday Blowout. Nintendo was good for alliteration. Boy and His Blob is one that I was fascinated with as a kid. Kind of an adventure game where you feed jelly beans to this blob, and he changes into things like a ladder and like an umbrella and helps you solve puzzles. It's very good. Does not hold your hand at all, though. We've got Back to the Future 2 and 3, ass games. I mean, games I didn't even enjoy as a kid. Athena, Bad Dudes. I always hated this game as a kid, too. I could never get past the first level. So fucking hard for no reason. The arcade game is a little better. Bad News Baseball. I'll always remember the music to this game because it has one song, and it drives you nuts by the ninth inning. My brother and I love this game. We play this game once in a while, still to this day. Probably my favorite baseball game on the NES. I think it's funny, fantastic, has a good sense of humor, fun music, despite it not being very diverse. Bat Street Brawler. We got Bomberman 2 in the case there, which is a harder to find game, which is why it's in the case. I think this one's up over $100 now. Balloon Fight. Bandai Golf. We have Bard's Tale on the NES, which is cool. I have the manual for that one. I love stuff like that. Little novel games for the time. Blaster Master. Blades of Steel. Fun. Still a fun co-op, or not co-op, but competitive two-player game there. We have Bionic Commando, the classic. Boulder Dash. I remember a board game from the 90s called Boulder Dash. We've got Beetlejuice. I love these growing up. I thought these were so neat. So cool. This is B-52, which is actually a good, probably one of the best unlicensed games for the NES by Camerica, I would say. You play a bee. I mean, it's like a bee simulator. You just go from flower to flower, pollinate, you make honey. I don't know. You just do bee shit. And it's cool, fun, addictive. It's got an arcadey kind of style. And this one, oh, okay, I actually thought this was a different one. This is Big Nose the Caveman, not quite as good as B-52. This is a platformer published by Camerica. I forgot who developed these games. Maybe Camerica did develop these games. Not exactly sure. I would assume they did. All right, next up, when I first moved down here, I went to a Goodwill, and I think it was the first Goodwill trip I had done down here. And I picked this up at Goodwill for like $1. And amongst other titles that I probably already had and sold. But Battletoads vs. Double Dragon, one of the harder games to find that I have in my collection. Now, I'm not crazy, guys. I don't have like the $10,000 games and the $3,000 games, shit like that. Another baseball game my brother and I love, and I loved as a kid, because you basically play as robots. And I don't know, if one of the players get hit by the ball and they get pissed off, they can actually charge the mound and fight the pitcher to the death, like robot fight, like one-on-one Street Fighter style. So I love this game. Now, Ultra, give you a little history lesson here. Ultra is basically Konami. So at this time, Nintendo actually limited the amount of games that Konami or that third-party publishers could publish for the console. It was like 7 or 8 or some arbitrary weird number. And so to get around that, a lot of companies created subsidiary development teams, and Ultra was one of those. So it came from the Konami. It's Konami. It's just a branch of Konami. I like to think of them as under the same umbrella, and because they're very closely related. So anytime you see Ultra, it's basically Konami. But they had to rebrand so that they can get around the stupid third-party rules that Nintendo had laid out. But I think Nintendo basically has learned their lesson mostly by this point. Baseball Stars, another fantastic baseball game. A great, wonderful baseball game. I just realized that this has a save feature. That's cool. You could do like seasons. I might actually do that. The Baseball Stars is a great SNK classic baseball game. You can't go wrong. Let's see. Sounds like MLB Slugfest, but robot. Yeah, essentially that is what it is. Super fun game, for what it is. We got a lot more baseball games here. Bases loaded 1, 2, and 3. I love how this one doesn't say bases loaded. Instead, it puts the developer or the publisher of the game on the label. Yeah, little things like that, little idiosyncratic things about the NES. Just it's like, what the hell? Batman, you can't go wrong with Batman. This is one of the best games on the console, hands down. This is going to be a long video, by the way, folks. I ain't got shit to do today, so I might need to take a pee break and a water break, but we're in this. We're in this for the long haul. Fuck it. Who cares? We've got 3 Batman games. In fact, Battleship, I'm sure that's a riveting experience on the NES. Battle Tank. I used to actually really like the Battle Tank games back in the day. Not necessarily on the NES, but there were other versions of it. I can't remember where I played them or what consoles I liked them on. All right, here we go for my movie fans that are bored by my video game commentary. We've got Gojira by Toho. They published this. And this one, listen, I loved it as a kid. This was my initial exposure to Godzilla in the West here. And I loved this as a kid. I love the music. Dun, 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 dun. It's got really good music. Looks good. It's got a lot of the different monsters from the Godzilla films, Gojira films. But the gameplay could have been better. It's got like a one-on-one fight, kind of thing where you beat the big monsters. And then the levels are rinse and repeat, pretty much all the same. Side-scrolling shoot-'em-up levels. Could have been better, but there wasn't much polish with the Godzilla game, unfortunately. Goal! We've got Gauntlet. We've got, I think I have another copy of Gauntlet. Don't I? Maybe I do somewhere. Ghosts and Goblins, a game that a lot of people speak fondly of and highly of. I don't have such fond memories of this game growing up. I always thought this was way too difficult, and it was for a young boy. It was way too difficult. I don't know. I love the Super Nintendo one. I love the Genesis one, and a lot of other iterations. But the original Ghosts and Goblins by Capcom, gotta love the old school Capcom grid-based thing going on. What was up with grids? Sega did grids too. But yeah, Ghosts and Goblins, not my favorite Capcom game, but still one I respect. Gauntlet 2. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. This one's for you, Billy. This one here is G.I. Joe, the Atlantis Factor. Now, I don't have the other G.I. Joe game. I don't think I do. I've lost track, guys. This is peak era Capcom for me when they went to the purple and red kind of thing. I'm going to come back in a few minutes. No problem, Jimmy. Thank you for stopping in. Never played yeah, you got to play one. These are both very good games developed by good developers. I think Seta was the other G.I. Joe game. This one is obviously Capcom. Both side-scrolling action adventure games where you play as different Joes. And it's super fun. I still love those games. Ghoul School. That one is a game. It's a game. It's probably the worst Metroidvania game I've ever played in my life. But it's cool because it's horror. Look at that. Look at that cover. It's spooky. Look at this little guy. What's he doing in there? I don't even know what he is, but he's cool. All right, so that's Ghoul School. One of those novel games that never came out on any other console and will never be released on any other console ever again. Chess Master, one of the more exciting outputs from the NES library here. Chess Master, yeah, it's chess. Probably a good chess game, though, I would imagine. It was a very popular series in the 90s for chess players. More Capcom goodness. This is the era where Capcom dominated, Capcom and Konami, and first-party Nintendo and Sunsoft, and it was a good time to play games. And Chubby Cherub, this is a hard-to-find game now. This is a Bandai Namco, Bandai, who actually didn't own Namco at this point. But now I'm so used to the two names together. Bandai is still doing its thing, publishing games, developing games, you know, like the Souls series. So there you go. Another Jalico game. City Connection, a really fun arcade game. Clash at Demon Head, kind of an open world action platform. Really weird. Guys, I am playing the NES today. I'm all excited now. I'm getting in the mood. Cobra Command, Clue Land. This is a unknown or relatively unknown first party title, black box title. These two are shooters, pretty good games. Codename Viper, one I grew up with. I loved this game. I realized even at a young age that this was a ripoff, Capcom ripoff of Rolling Thunder, the Rolling Thunder series. But I love the Rolling Thunder series, and I love Codename Viper. But they are brutally difficult games. Good luck beating Codename Viper. Dude, you'll play that game for 5 hours, and you'll get to, like, stage 4, and you'll be like, all right, I got to be close to the end. And then you look it up, and it's like 8 more or 4 more stages, and you're like, okay, well, I tried. Commando. Great 80s action movie style Capcom, early Capcom game. There's the grid-based Capcom before they... Actually, Codename Viper, yeah, another Capcom. Conflict. We've got the Contra games, which I have beaten the first Contra without the code, and I have not beaten the second Contra because it's even harder. Crystalis, another game I've beaten. Wonderful little action RPG with great music. In fact, a lot of my old videos I used to use Crystalis music in. To just kind of liven up the mood, because it was such great catchy tunes from Crystalis. And this is an SNK game, one of the only action RPGs they did. They were supposed to do a sequel at some point. That never came into fruition. Excite Bike, can't go wrong with Excite Bike. Dino Wars, a game I loved as a kid, and I like as an adult. It's an okay game. It gets a little tiresome and repetitive, but it's a fun game, and how can you go wrong with that cover? Look at that freaking cool cover. Anyway, Dino, and a name like Dino Wars, you can't go wrong. This one's pretty beat up, but dudes with attitude. It's a weird third-party game. I just want to say thank you guys for watching this live stream. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the likes. And if you do enjoy what you're seeing, feel free to give it a thumbs up. That helps me. Pretty much that's the way that you can help the channel and the live stream, just by giving it a thumbs up and commenting. So anybody who does that, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get back into the swing of being consistent with videos, so hold me to it. I really miss making videos and doing live streams. So here's more Bible games. This is Exodus. This one's actually... No, this one's ass. The one that's good is, I think, Joshua. I get them mixed up. Is it Joshua? Joshua. Yeah, this one. I played this with my buddy Steve pretty recently. We got pretty far, and then we realized there was 100 levels, and we were like, okay. After level 40, we were like, we're about done. But it's a good puzzle platformer. It's not bad. It's like Lolo with a little bit more action. We've got Ultima, which is a hard game to play these days, admittedly. Final Fantasy. Beautiful. I just think it's so cool and historic to have that. We've got Fighting Golf. Really exciting stuff. We got Fester's Quest. Sunsoft game that a lot of people shit on in modernity, but back in the day, this was a pretty well-known game, and a lot of people enjoyed it. Brutally difficult, but we didn't know anything different back in the 90s, so I played this with my cousins a lot. Great music. Sunsoft. Kind of like Zelda in a lot of ways, a lot more difficult. Some weird developing, design choices, but still a great game. Foxanadu, this is another one I played all the time. I want to say, what is this? The Dragon Slayer series in Japan. A game was on the computer called Xanadu. They brought it to the NES, and they called it Fa-Xanadu for Famicom Xanadu. Fa-Xanadu. I think it's pronounced Fa-Xanadu. I've always said Faxanadu for obvious reasons, because there's an X. This is an action RPG. I always love the cover here, the simplicity and the wonder of the mystery of the cover. Dangers and wing boots, mantras and monsters await you. As a kid, that was very alluring. And it's a good game. It has some flaws, but it's definitely worth playing today. It's a fun game. Friday the 13th. There we go for my movie fans out there. Friday the 13th is not a terrible game. It's a very abstruse game. It's very difficult to understand how to play the game. You basically need a guide because you have to kill Jason at certain times. And it's pretty baffling, but a pretty ambitious game for the time, I will say. This is LJN published, I want to say, didn't Rare? No, Rare didn't do this. I believe a Japanese development team did Friday the 13th. We'll get to another movie-based game soon. This one I've gotten a special little protector here, which I'd like to get all my NES games in before they wither away. But this is Frankenstein, The Monster Returns. This is a very hard to find NES game. Fun action platformer. I think I've come close to beating this. If not, yeah, I've come close to beating it, but it gets really frustrating by the end. I don't think I've beaten it. Flying Dragon, Secret Skull. This is... no, this is not what I thought it was. That, I can't speak on much. I get that one conflated with others. I'm going to have a drink of my coffee here, guys. Sorry, you're kind of going with me through my morning or afternoon routines. Don't like to drink coffee this late, but I figured why not today. Celebration. All right, let's see. We've got Goonies 2. Good enough for you, it's good enough. For you, it's good enough. There you go. Kung Fu. Classic. I have the box up there I showed you. Creon Conquest, a game that I loved as a kid. My cousins put me onto this. A lot of games my cousins put me onto. The Creon Conquest is a Victokai ripoff of Mega Man. It is a Mega Man ripoff. Through and through, it is way more difficult than any fucking Mega Man I have ever fucking played, though. Excuse my French. But this game pisses me off as an adult. As a kid, it was like, whatever. Like I said, in the 90s, you didn't cry about difficulty. You were just like, well, I guess I'm not playing this. You didn't bitch about it like you do now. Creon, I love the artwork here. Look at how hot she is. She's fucking hot. Oh, yeah, look at that hotness. It's got like little, I guess that's like a Mega Man ripoff. Doesn't he look like a Mega Man? Daimajin Mega Man ripoff. Great artwork. I think this is a great game, despite its brutal difficulty. Kid Icarus, a game that I have beaten, but not on the original NES. I beat it on the 3DS during the Ambassador program, or whatever. We'll go through the ones on top. Mickey, Safari, and Letterland. A lot of weird stuff like that. On the NES. And by the way, NES is the only console that I am trying to collect every game for. This has been a goal of mine since I was 13, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And that was at a time where games weren't ridiculously priced, and now there's certain games I will never own, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Legendary Wings is a great two-player Capcom shooter. Very unique shooter. Legend of Kage. Yes, it's Kage, not Cage, like I used to say when I was a little boy. Legacy of the Wizard, a good, I think this is another, I get mixed up with these series. They changed all the names. When they exported them from Japan to America, they changed all the names. I want to say this is a Dragon, no, maybe it's, I forget. Mag Max is a weird one. This is another game I played a lot. Little Mermaid, very easy Capcom game, but very fun. We've got Joe and Mac. My mom used to play that. My mom and I used to play that one all the time on the Super NES. Jeopardy! Jaws, a game that I got down from from a guy down the street, a kid down the street who was a little older than me, who showed me all the tricks about old games like Sonic and all the old stuff. Thanks for coming back, Jimmy. I appreciate it. We're still going strong. It's gonna be a long one, so grab some popcorn. Jaws, I got from a buddy of mine named Zach, who was down the road. We used to hang out all the time. He put me on to Warheads, and I don't know. He was just an older kid in the neighborhood that showed me and my family respect, and that was a big deal for an older kid to do. And that's kind of how the '90s were. It wasn't weird then. You know what I mean? But I have fond memories of hanging out with Zach. He showed me a lot of tricks with the original Sonic games. Jackie Chan's Kung Fu, I'm glad I have this game. I love this game. I have beaten it. It's a great Hudson Soft, fast-paced action platformer with my boy, Jackie Chan. Does it have anything to do with any of his movies? Not really, but that's okay by me. In fact, guys, movie fans out there, this is cool stuff. Kung Fu is a Jackie Chan game. Can you believe that? Kung Fu is a Jackie Chan game. Look it up. This, I believe, was based on either My Lucky Stars or Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars or Winners and Sinners. It was from that series, if I'm not mistaken. It's one of the early three brothers, Yin Bio, Sammo Hung, Jackie Chan ensemble action flicks. This was based... No, this is Wheels on Meals. I'm sorry. Or Meals on Wheels. Nope. Wheels on Meals. They had to flip-flop the name in America. But Wheels on Meals is actually Kung Fu, believe it or not. Yes, I do love Jackie Chan. Thanks, Flying Squirrel, for commenting. Hey, I said, Hi there, Mike. No time, Lexi. Hope all is well. Things are going better than they... Yes, things are going better. Absolutely. Things are going better. So this is actually a Jackie Chan game based on Wheels on Meals, one of the best Jackie Chan films. Hell's Quest 2, this one I actually picked up over the last year, and I just beat it a couple months ago. And yes, it was very expensive. I, in no way, shape, or form, paid that much. I traded a bunch of things and got this for trade credit. Jurassic Park, pretty fun game on the NES, better on the Super. And here is Nightmare on Elm Street. This is an LJN game, but it was actually developed by a studio we all know and love, Rare. So I'm not going to take it out of there. But this is actually a 4-player game. Believe it or not, if you had the multi-tap for the NES, or whatever it was called, Fourscore. Nightmare on Elm Street is actually a good game. It's a very difficult game. It's a little hard to understand what exactly to do, a little obtuse, but hey, that's of the era. Great music. And honestly, when every once in a while when Freddy comes around, it's pretty cool and pretty exciting. The music kicks in, and I don't know, it's really, really neat atmosphere in that game. One of the most atmospheric games on the NES, and you could chalk that up to Rare's development skills. Silius, Journey to Silius. This one, a lot of people say is one of the harder games on the NES. I actually disagree. I think it's a great, perfectly designed trial and error type of game where if your skills are keen and you know what to look out for, pick up on the patterns, you can beat this game. It's not going to drive you crazy. It's 5 levels or so. It's a fun game with some of the best music on the NES. We've got another game with great music. Punch Out is a classic. And I have it in the box. I have the box up there. Shadow of the Ninja, a fantastic 2-player co-op action platformer. Unbelievable game with different weapons and a bunch of different levels and tight action platforming, even tighter than Ninja Gaiden. Yes, I said it. Soccer. Can any of you guess what this game is about? Soccer. We've got more Simpsons games. Shooting Range. What do we have here? Shinobi. This is the version I grew up with. Shinobi and the Genesis ones. This is the original arcade game. This is a port of the original arcade game. This is Tengen is actually Atari. I believe they had to do the same sort of roundabout that other companies had to do, like Konami. So whenever you see Tengen, this is actually Atari. I'm pretty confident. Guys, I am doing this all off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm getting some details incorrect. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. You guys correct me when you see fit. Gogo 13. Yeah, Victokai. Based on Gogo 13, the old manga, the old anime. One of my favorite Japanese characters, no question. Even Sonny Chiba played the Duke in Gogo 13 movie from Japan. This is a really cool game, very unique, multiple different play styles, kind of blends it all into quite a cool adventure game, action-adventure game here. And if you love the series, then you'll love this even more. The Moffat Conspiracy is more the same. Very, very similar kind of game, a sequel to the original. Games like this are the reason I love the NES. Why can't I? Okay. I love the NES because of games like this. Because you don't get... This is the only way to play it. On the NES. And it's not going to be on any of your, like, NES Classic things. Unless you hack it. Gotcha. If you guys ever see a 5-screw version of Gotcha... Ha! There's an old Play and Trade sticker. There you go, Billy. This is how much games used to be on the NES. There might be a few of these. So, Gotcha. Again, if you ever find the 5-screw, it's worth, like, $10 million. I believe... That's exactly how much it's worth, 10 million. We've got Gremlins 2. This has great music. Music from the game, but synthesized, or how do you say, sort of transcribed wonderfully well for Gremlins 2. Another Sunsoft game. They know how to make games, and they know how to make them sound good. Gradius. This is where the Gradius series starts. Gradius, Gradius, Potato, Potato, Tomato, Tomato. Gunsmoke, a great early Capcom shooter, very unique shooter where it's a shooter, but you play as a gunfighter and you're just spraying bullets all over the screen, killing Indians, and killing these guys that are on wanted posters, and it's awesome. Would you say that the NES is your favorite system? Yeah, because when you blend the quality of games with nostalgia, I would say so. Maybe the Genesis. Yeah, it's hard to say, man. It's hot as fuck in our house for like weeks. All right, so my brother's gonna handle that, which is nice. This is like this is like a life stream. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do stuff, but I'm also like drinking coffee, using the bathroom, dealing with the AC guy. Let's continue on here. Guardian Legend, a really cool and underrated game that blends shooters with an action adventure sort of Zelda type of game. Um, let's see. Can you guys muted back? What does that mean? Can you guys hear me? We've got, let's see, Heavy Barrel, a really fun sort of, I don't know, Akari Warriors type of game. Very fun game. Let's see, we've got Heavy Shreddin', Hogan's Alley. Just let me know if you need anything, tape. We've got Home Alone 2, one of the shittiest games. I actually played this for hours pretty recently. Yeah. Not too proud to admit that. I was trying to beat it. It's impossible. We've got Hook. I loved this game on the Super NES when I was growing up. I've never played it on the NES. Very different game, developed by a different team. All right, sorry for the noise, guys. It is what it is. We got to get our AC fixed. You were just muted for a sec, but it's back. Don't worry. Got it. Thank you for looking out. Hudson Hawk, based on the Bruce Willis movie. Yeah, who remembers that? No one. We've got Ice Hockey, a great two-player game there. We've got the Akari Warriors series. I don't have the third one, which is the best one, but I have fond memories of playing the Akari Warriors, a game that is admittedly not great. This has some incredibly cool artwork. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Isn't that so cool? This is why I love the NES. I wish I had boxes for all these. That'd be even better. Immortal, but then I'd be like a millionaire. We've got Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. We've got Isolated Warrior. Jack Nicklaus. Kabuki Quantum Fighter. This is a great action platformer. It's a great action platformer on the NES, which I have fond memories of. I've had this since I was a kid. That's why it's pretty beat up. I've beaten that game. Very fun game. Jackal. Great two-player game by Konami. Karate Kid, the infamous AVGN episode. This one I bought for $5 back in the day. Karate Champ, Karnov, Kickle Cubicle, a game that I have very fond memories of playing with my mother. She loved the Lolo types of games, the action, or how should I say, platformer, puzzle platformers. There we go. Kickle Cubicle is a sorely underrated game. I have actually beaten this. It's a very difficult game, but fun once you get the mechanics down, which doesn't take too long, and I just love this artwork. I love the artwork. It's bringing me back, guys, bringing me back. Okay, so let me get this back in. Kid Cool, King's Knight. What do we got here? King of Kings, more Bible games. Kirby's Adventure, one of the great games on the NES. Everybody knows that one. I love this game. Really? All right, we'll talk later. That was it? Jesus, I feel like an idiot. All right, we've got Life Force, Last Ninja, a really strange, this was an Amiga game that was I think it was an Amiga game that was ported over to the NES by Jaleco, and this is a very strange isometric action game. Stands out on the NES in terms of the way it looks and the gameplay, but it's not a very good port, from what I understand. In fact, the original game wasn't very good, from what I understand. Let's see. Shingen the Ruler. There you go. This one for you, Billy. Shingen the Ruler. This is like hardcore, old school, turn-based strategy, build your empire kind of game. It's a crazy game. Most of it is beyond me, if I'm being honest. Hey, Ketera. Hey, this is fascinating. Do you collect NES games specifically? Oh, I collect everything. As you will see in this very long live stream. We're only an hour in. We may have to split this up into a couple days now that I'm thinking about it. I could do this for a few hours, but I think I'll burn myself out anything more than that. All right. We've got Sky Kid, Snake Rattle Roll, a 2-player game by Rare that my mom and I used to play all the time. As you can see, a trend here. The NES was great for family gameplay and friends, and imagine that. It had many couch co-op games that were awesome. We've got Monster Party, a game that I loved and had so many cool horror movie references. Whoever developed this game really knew their horror movies. And as you can see, it has like Medusa, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Bigfoot, dragons. You got Dracula over there. Very cool action platformer. Very difficult. Does get a little tiresome by the end. It has sort of like a light world and a dark world effect. It was kind of cool. Mutant Virus is a very strange game. If you understand how to play this game, kudos. And please let me know in the comments how to play it, because I've tried for hours and I can't figure out what to do. I don't get it. I do good things sometimes, but Mylon Secret Castle, not a bad game. A pretty hard game. Shatterhand, oh my god, Shatterhand. Shatterhand is one of the coolest NES action platformers, where you just punch the shit out of everything in action movie style. Look at that guy. He's pissed. Shatterhand as a sequel I will never own, because it's incredibly, ridiculously expensive. Konami game here, later Konami game on the NES. This is Monster in My Pocket. A very simple, easy game with great sprite work, great graphics, good music, and a very good game overall, despite its brevity and its, its simplicity, I suppose. Legend of Zelda 1 and 2, of course. I have the map still for Legend of Zelda 1. I've beaten both of these games on original hardware. I did cheese the final boss, I'm not going to lie. Fuck the final boss in that game. It's a miserable time. Little Nemo, another game I have beaten. I make an effort to beat as many of these games as I can, at least play them. But Little Nemo Dream Master is a game I loved as a kid, but could never get past the second or third level. But as an adult, I conquered this motherfucker. I loved the anime growing up. I didn't know it was an anime. It was a co-development. It was co-directed by a Japanese guy and it was a Japanese and American co-production. So it was very unique for the time. Based on the old 1910s comics, which are very cool. We've got, let's see, sorry I couldn't comment before. The Shingen does sound awesome. Oh yeah, you'd like that one. Lode Runner, Logi Man. Logi Man is a cool action platformer with some cool mechanics that I think were underutilized, and the game isn't perfect, but I do have good memories of it, and you gotta love the title. Low G Man. Low gravity, man. Low gravity, man. Low gravity. Alright, we got Mad Max. Not a very good game, but an slightly ambitious game that needed some work. But hey, any game with Mel Gibson on the front, I'm in. We've got Scheherazade, also known as The Magic of Scheherazade. This is an action RPG that I've never played, but I do look forward to playing it one day and hopefully beating it. We've got Maniac Mansion, really cool. This is why I love the NES, such a diverse library. This is a point-and-click adventure game that was very popular on the PC back in the day on DOS. What was the guy's name? Schaefer? Jim Schaefer? I forget. There's another Play and Trade sticker there. Pretty funny. We've got Marble Madness, classic game. Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers. We've got McKids, McDonald's branded game. There were a bunch of those, or a few of those back in the 90s. I believe yeah, I own them all. One on the Genesis, one on the NES. 2 on the Genesis. We'll get to those. Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 6. I also have 5, but it's an import. I'll show you that in a minute. I only have a few imports. So I'm missing 4. I need 4. Yes. Metal Gear 1 and 2. Now, Kojima did not have anything to do with these ports. Konami developed them themselves, or Ultra, the branch of Konami. These are okay games, but if you have a chance to play the MSX versions of Metal Gear 1 and 2, that's the way to go, because Kojima actually made those. If you have the PS3 HD trilogy of Metal Gear Solid, you actually have the first 2 games on the MSX ports, I should say. Metal Mech, another one with cool artwork, very watercolor stylized, cool artwork there. Metal Storm, I got this at a pawn shop a couple years ago. They didn't know what they had. I think what the deal was it was sitting in the case for so long at $40, and nobody bought it, and then it just got more and more expensive over time. This is over $100 now, I'm pretty sure, and I ended up getting it for like $30, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago. Metroid. Metroid you can't go wrong with, obviously. A very difficult game. I still haven't beat the original. I've beaten all the others. But I love Metroid, one of my favorite series. Mickey Mousecapade, another one my mother and I loved. We loved all these Capcom games. God, they were making so many great games for young kids. The family games, that were challenging enough. Mission Impossible, this is an interesting one. Not based on the TV show more than anything. This is another Konami Ultra game. This is a cool game with a great concept, but it's almost like Metal Gear in a lot of ways, but it's fucking brutally difficult. Like, one life, one death, once your team's fucking dead, one hit, it's done. The game's over. Pisses me off, because games like that, you want to sit down and play through, but it's too hard. It's too hard. Micro Machines, this is a great little racing game on the NES, 2-player racing game. Yeah, I gotta show you this. This is so funny. Is this the one? Oh, I guess this doesn't have the Switch. Some of these games had switches depending on what region you were in. This is not Camerica. Oh, no, it was Camerica. Codebreakers developed this, right? Licensed by... I'm not sure who developed it. All right, Narc. Back in the 90s, it was all about just say no to drugs. And... so much so that they made games that kids played where you play cops, narcotics agents, who murder the fuck out of drug dealers because they're scum and they deserve to die. Fuck due process. Kill drug dealers. That's what Narc is all about, and it is fantastic. Not as good as the arcade version, but hey, still fun. Another really cool, I'm pretty sure exclusive point-and-click adventure game. This game is so cool. You start off, is this the one where you start off tied to a chair and you got to figure out how to get out of the chair before the place blows up? It's either this one or Deja Vu, but I'm pretty sure it's Nightshade. This is a cool NES exclusive there. If I'm not mistaken, it's an NES exclusive. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3, or if you've seen The Wizard, Gaiden! Because they were like, Gaiden, it's like, Gaiden! Anyway, gotta say it like that. Like a shogun. Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 I have actually beaten. I have not taken on the third one. I played both of these in the same day. I finished the first one after a few hours, and I was like, that was so fucking hard. I might as well keep the ball rolling and finish 2. And I got through 2 relatively easily. But 3, I hear, is the bitch of them all, and I'll get to it one day. This one's interesting because I think it has, the Twin Towers there in the back. So... The Ancient Ship of Doom. Yeah, people say that's the hardest one. So fuck whoever developed this for making them harder and harder. Tecmo. Yeah, screw you, Tecmo. Pac-Man. Palamedes, a really weird and kind of cool puzzle game. You'll never play a puzzle game like this, I guarantee it. It's a very strange one. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is sticking with me watching this live stream. I hope you are enjoying it. Phantom Fighter, this is a Japanese game based on Chinese mythology, and it's got the Jiangshi, the hopping vampires there, and you kick the shit out of them. You go to a village, kill all the vampires in these side-scrolling stages, then you fight kind of a boss, and rinse and repeat. But it's pretty fun. It's very difficult. I have beaten it, however. All right, I'm going to get down on my... I'm in a weird position here. All right, we've got... Super Spike V-Ball is a great volleyball game for the NES. It's on a double pack there with World Cup. Iron Sword. This one has Fabio on the front. Literally, Fabio. There he is. Fabio is high fantasy in the 90s. Smash TV. This one's cool. You can actually play with 2 NES controllers to emulate the arcade joysticks, which is kind of interesting. So it becomes a dual-stick shooter. This is not the version I played growing up, though. I played the Super NES version. We'll talk about that later. We'll go through the ones on top. Solomon's Key, Solar Jetman, Spelunker, Space Shuttle Project. Again, you're not going to see any games like this anywhere else but the NES. This is a space shuttle simulator. Yes, so you go through the motions of launching a space shuttle into orbit and landing it, bringing it back home and landing it. It's a series of mini games. So it's like 5 or 6 or 7 or mini games. And depending on how good you do, you get a good score. Very, very unique game and also fun. They made it fun somehow. Super Team Games, this Sword and Serpents. I never played that one. Cool artwork on there, though. Super Mario 3. This one's really cool, guys. Okay, so another one for my movie heads out there. This is a film by, oh boy. Was it Nobuhiko? Shit. I forget who directed this film, but it's a great Japanese film director. Did a film called Sweet Home in '89, and a video game followed by Capcom. This is the progenitor of the Resident Evil series. Without this, we don't have the Resident Evil series. This laid the groundwork for the type of game that would become the survival horror game. This is more of an action RPG, but it does have elements of permadeath and turn-based combat, and exploring a haunted house and solving the mystery. It's a very cool game with sort of Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest-like combat. Very cool horror game. The movie is also awesome. I recommend everybody check out the movie too. It's a fun time. Swords and Serpents was so mad to me, but the artwork on it is amazing. I feel like that with so many games from that era, they don't always hold up, but that art style is peak. Yes, absolutely. That's when we had great, great hand-drawn artists. Let me, which one was it? Sword and Serpents. Yeah, let me show off the artwork here. Yeah, look at that. It reminds me of Golden Axe. Actually, Golden Axe would do a very similar thing. But yeah, like in a serpent's mouth. I think this was a dungeon crawler point-click adventure kind of thing, if I'm not mistaken. All right, we've got Pinball Quest, a really cool sort of pinball RPG, action platform pinball RPG kind of thing. It's really neat. I love this one. This one's really cool. Pirates, Sid Meier's Pirates actually got a port on the NES, and it's very good. It's very good. Konami actually put this out, so there you go. If you like the pirate simulators from the 90s. Platoon. Movie-based game, one of the most brutal movies I've ever seen. Got an NES game. I just think that's so funny. Not a good game. I don't even know what to compare it to. It's an action game, side-scrolling action game. Yeah, it's not very good. Popeye, the forgotten NES classic, or the forgotten arcade Nintendo classic. I think this is a great arcade game, up there with Donkey Kong. More difficult, a little bit more complex, but POW, POW. Prince of Persia, I actually tried to beat this one day, and I couldn't. It was just it got so hard. But this is a good port of the PC game. Power Blade, a lot like Shatterhand, has incredible music. I remember all these tunes. That says something about the game. Taito put out an incredible action platformer with this, I guess, Australian guy with a metal boomerang. This guy's from Australia in the future. Yeah, we'll go with that. Because, Australia, they have boomerangs there. We have Punch-Out! This is just Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Without Mike Tyson, with Mr. Sandman instead, because the licensing ran up. There you go, Billy. There's one for you. The Punisher. This is an NES game, sort of a, I guess, gallery shooter, you would say. The progenitor of the first person. This kind of came out before the first-person shooter, where you just move around a cursor and you shoot shit up. This is actually pretty cool because you can destroy a lot of the environment. It's very fun. I like it. It's not a bad game, and if you're a Punisher fan, even better. LJN put this one out. Not sure who developed it. We've got Puss in Boots, a game I liked as a kid. I haven't played in a very long time, I gotta be honest. Pyramid. This one I picked up pretty recently. It's a puzzle game. I don't know much about it. These were always so cool to me. The Quattro games here, they had 4 games in one. Now, most of the games were ass. You know, they were like a quarter of a game, so it added up to one game. But Treasure Island Dizzy isn't terrible. It's not a terrible game. The rest of them are pretty mediocre. Dizzy's kind of like an adventure platformer series. Rad Racer. I love this game. Can't beat it, though, man. It gets so brutal in the end. You have to be perfect to beat this game. Knocks criminals down and they don't get back up. Yes, sir. Rad Racer 2, another one here. This is a Square game, actually, believe it or not. Early Square. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if Square did... Yeah, Square did this one as well. Very cool. Early Squaresoft games there. They would go on to do the Final Fantasy series, of course. Rambo. All right, so I'm going to stick up for Rambo a bit. This is a game I grew up with my cousins. This is a great game. Well, it's not a great game. It's a good game that's very, very difficult. It is a Zelda 2 ripoff. And straight up Zelda 2 ripoff with catchy music, but not very vast array of music, admittedly. This is a good game. I like it. I like ripoffs that are competent. And it's got Stallone bucking a whatever that is, a machine gun at bad guys, at terrorists. Rampage, can't go wrong with that. RBI Baseball, we got RBI Baseball 2. RBI Baseball got a couple different versions, Tengen version there. Oh, Rampart, dude. Rampart is so much fun with 2 people. This is like a puzzle strategy game. Yeah. And it's fantastic. My brother and I actually played this recently, and he even liked it. And he doesn't play many old games, so I know when we play something that he enjoys, that's a good sign. It holds up really well, guys. Ren and Stimpy. Oh, Ren! This one is Buckaroos. This is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. My mother hated that I watched this in the early 90s with my pops, but it is what it is. It didn't harm me. I didn't take most of my sense of humor for Ren and Stimpy. I think this is a brilliant show, brilliant cartoon, one of the best ever made. The games actually retain the atmosphere, the vibe, and the humor of the show, but never really made it to great game status. Renegade, this is an early Taito game here, which I want to say this is part of the Kunio-kun series, or was that maybe a different one? The River City Ransom, yeah, this right here. This game right here is so much fun. This is a long run. This is the Kunio-kun series. This is a long, or Nikatsu, what's it? Kunio-kun? This game is a long-running series of games from Japan, most of which we didn't get here in the West, until a collection came out pretty recently. These are beat-em-up RPGs. I guess the RPG aspect of them didn't make them very amenable to Americans' taste at the time, but I loved this game at the time. I thought this game was fantastic, and I thought it was, just its own thing, but it was part of a series. This is a great game to play with 2 people. You could save it with passwords. You side-scroll, beat the shit out of thugs with whips and chains and all bats and all sorts of stuff. It's got great music. Very good stuff. RoboCop. The great thing about this RoboCop game is the music, and that's about it. But unfortunately, it just has one tune, the RoboCop theme. By Basil Polidorus, I think. But this is not a great game. I did play it a lot as a kid because I loved RoboCop as a kid. Not a great RoboCop game. There's actually a trilogy of RoboCop games on the NES, I believe. We've got The Rocketeer, another movie-based game that isn't too bad. It's not too bad. It's a little overlong, long-winded, but not a bad game. Roger Clemens MVP Baseball. I used to play this with my cousins. Roller games, based on the short-lived, now-defunct show from the 80s called Roller Games, where it was like a bunch of roller games on rollerblades and stuff. And this is a very unique action game where you are on rollerblades and you kick the shit out of enemies. It's like beat 'em up. It's like your Skate in Streets of Rage 3 or something. But the whole game revolves around that idea. You're going through these obstacle courses, kicking the shit out of dudes, and it's a really fun Konami game. Not bad. Rolling Thunder, there we go. This one I played a lot as a kid. This is actually one my dad liked a lot on the Genesis, which I still need the Genesis version, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's a shame. I need Rolling Thunder on my Genesis. We used to play that all the time. Section Z, or as my Canadian friends call it, Section Z by Capcom. Rygar. Rygar is a pretty cool action platformer. I like the PS2 version a little more. That's just my opinion. All right, we're going to get to this one here, but I'm going to take a little sip. All right. We've got... Oh, I'll show you these up top. We've got Empire Strikes Back. Super Empire Strikes Back on the Super NES. Super hard games, but great games. Aladdin, Capcom, I love this game. My favorite version of Aladdin. I know a lot of people think the Genesis version is superior. I disagree, but hey, it's just my opinion. Donkey Kong Country, one of my favorite games of all time. Not only on the Super NES, but I love that game. Play it once a year at least. Play through it. Super Mario All-Stars. The Lion King, a brutally difficult Super NES game. Jurassic Park. And one other N64 game, Mission Impossible. Not a bad game. I liked the game back in the day, and I think it's a pretty unique game today. Super Dodgeball, another great two-player game where you just throw dodgeballs at your friends' faces, or your brother's face in my case. Toki Going Ape Spit, or just known as Toki on the NES. This was a pretty damn good NES platformer, very difficult. It also got a port on the Genesis. Wrath of the Black Manta, I loved this game as a kid. This game is so iconic to me. Nobody knows what this is, but I think it's fantastic. It's not a great game, but it has a lot of heart. It has a lot of character and some really funny character designs and some choices. So it's a very goofy ninja game at a time when ninjas were the poppin' shit. Wizardry, I still want to sit down and play this one. This is like a dungeon crawler. I think Shadowgate's more of a puzzle game. Wizardry is more of a old school dungeon crawler, like action art, turn-based RPG. Zexis, that's how I pronounce that. Zexis. It's a Hudson Soft shooter. It's a good game. A very good game, actually. We've got Spy Hunter, Super Spy Hunter. I love those games. Star Soldier, a very good shoot 'em up, or as we used to call them back in the day, shooters. Empire Strikes Back on the NES. Starship Hector. This is a pretty unique game. Very hard, but I like it quite a bit. There's my copy of Star Tropics with the manual. Let me see if I can give you guys a little bit of history. Yeah. Okay, no. So Star Tropics came with a piece of, it was like a map. It was like a blank map, right? And what the point was that you found this area or this thing in the game that told you what to do with that map. Because you were like, what the hell is this blank map? And the game tells you to wet the map. Literally pour water on the map that you got with your game. And what that does is the water makes the secret appear, which is such a cool. I may not be getting all the details right, but that's the idea. It like helps. There's a map that you wet and it becomes visible. You know, kind of like invisible ink or something. Stinger, really good game. Stinger always reminded me of Fantasy Zone. I'm not sure if they're connected. They might be, but Stinger's a really good Konami shooter. Very cutesy, very good art style. Capcom, Street Fighter 2010, The Final Fight. There's a lot going on in that title, I know, because Capcom would go on to do a Street Fighter series, the fighting series, of course, and then also the beat-em-up series, The Final Fight. Final Fight was actually supposed to be a Street Fighter game, but then they repurposed it and created a new genre, which is crazy. Strider, very different than the Genesis game. I prefer the Genesis game, but this is not a bad sort of action platformer, Metroidvania-ish kind of game. Strider is just so fucking cool. Strider Hiryu. I think he's one of the coolest Japanese characters. The scarf and everything. Sorry if it's a little dark over here, guys. We've got Super Mario. Ever hear of that one? Taboo, The Sixth Sense. Talking about diverse, eclectic array of games on this fucking console. This is literally just like tarot card reading. So instead of spending money on a tarot card reading in person, you would buy this game and it would tell you your fortunes and give you like lottery numbers to play. Literally, that's the whole game. Very strange. Quite the novelty though. Renegade! Tag Team Wrestling. This is the Tecmo one, or is it Data East one? Yeah, that one's okay. It's okay. Tecmo Super Bowl. Yes, this is the football game on the NES for those my football fans out there. I'm not a sports fan, but I do like sports games. We've got Tecmo Baseball, $1 from Play and Trade back in 2010. It's around when I moved here. Let's see. Tennis. Terminator 2. Not a very good game. The Three Stooges. A game that I will stick up for and say this is a very unique collection of little mini games that revolve around Three Stooges shorts. So if you're familiar with those, this will have some appeal to you. This isn't a terrible game. You're trying to win these little mini games to save up money for to buy an orphanage so kids don't become, or I don't know, something like that. Some stupid plot, but it's not a bad game. It actually got a port on one other console, the PlayStation. Isn't that weird? All right. Why I retain this knowledge, I don't know. Tiny Toons Adventures 1 and 2. I actually picked 2 up recently. I want to give that a whirl. I love the first one. Simple, fun platformer. Tom and Jerry, an okay platformer. Tubin, Top Gun, not my kinds of games. Total Recall, totally rad. This is my kind of game. Yeah. This is like an action platformer that is in fact totally rad. It has really cool creatured signs and the music's pretty good. A very unique and forgotten platformer by Jaleco. I like this game quite a bit. Always have. The arcade game here. TMNT 2, the arcade game. This is a port of the arcade game. Very good game. Not as good as the arcade, obviously. Track and Field 1 and 2. Why do I have 2 before 1? Track and Field, I played the hell out of these games as a kid. Never got very far, never really understood how to do anything in them, but they always appealed to me. Olympic games always appealed to me because I like mini games. I like games with mini games. Many mini games. Trog, guys, one of the best NES games here, in my opinion. This is Trog. This is a Pac-Man, I don't even want to say ripoff. This takes Pac-Man and elaborates on the gameplay and brings a really, really fun Pac-Man-like game. This is a 2-player game, too. Trog is awesome, a game I played all the time with my mom. This is why I love the NES, because this game you can't play anywhere else. Again, like along with a bunch of the other titles I mentioned. Trojan Man! I always think of the condoms when I think of this game. Let's be honest. It's an okay port of the arcade game. I have played the arcade game on like an emulator. It's better than this, but hey, it was ambitious for the time. Nice sprite work at least. Ultimate Basketball. Urban Champion. Vice Project Doom. This, in my opinion, it goes along with Shatterhand and Power Blade as like this badass action, side-scrolling action platforming trilogy. They're not connected in any way. They're all developed by different people, but they all feel similar to me, and I conflate them all in my head. So in my head, they're just one game, but in reality, they're 3. Some of the Yoshi puzzlers there, which are really fun. Actually, Thunder and Lightning. If you guys like Breakout or Arkanoid, it's like the best Arkanoid game I've ever played, and it's 2-player. It's so much fun. My brother and I play this. I have played this before. We haven't played in a while, but very fun game. And it's Arkanoid like on steroids. Arkanoids. Arcasteroids. Let's see. Wall Street Kid. Yeah, again, games like this you'll never ever see ever again. Well, actually, today you will, which tells you how ahead of its time it was. This is a game. This is an accounting game. You're like a Wall Street accountant, and you just do accounting, and you talk to people and form relationships, and it's an adventure game. But it's just so fucking weird. You'd get stuff like this today, right? Like accounting simulator. Warriors Woods. This is one of the final games to be released for the NES. I believe it was the final licensed game to be released for the NES. Werewolf in '95. Werewolf. This is a good action platformer that is brutally hard. I still need to beat this game. Kicks my ass in the later levels. but another very unique one that didn't make its way anywhere else. Guys, we're coming down to the end of this here. I'm going to have to take a break after this and have a drink of water and take a urination. Treasure Master, I always wanted this game. This game has badass, wizard-like early 90s. This is the 90s. This is what I remember the 90s like. I have very fond memories of this kind of radical style. Neon colors, man. And, Double Dare. I don't know. Just late 80s, early 90s was a really cool time for culture. We've got Exevius. Oh, the game sucks, though. Exevius. This is a really good shooter. I like this shooter. It's very unique. You can drop bombs. It's what is it? It's vertical, but you can drop bombs. You can shoot. It's got a really unique style. I like it. Yonoid. I believe this was in Japan a Kamen Rider game that they rebranded into like these were Domino's mascots, believe it or not. It's interesting to me that Domino's actually isn't on the cover anywhere. Maybe Noid was so recognizable in the late 80s that, they decided to do this. But yeah, this is a Domino's Capcom game. It's one of the hardest games on the NES, and it's not hard for good reasons. They give you 1 life, 1 hit, or 3 lives, 1 hit, no continues. You're fucking dead. You're fucking dead. There's nothing you could do. And I've never even gotten past the first level, admittedly, not even as an adult. So there you go. Upload werewolf gameplay with Howl at the Moon in the background. There you go. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. I may have to actually do that. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Weird stuff like that on the NES. Where's Waldo on the NES? I mean, it sucks. Dick, but one of the more underrated platformers, Mega Man-like Wampum, where you play as a little Native American, probably culturally insensitive from today's perspective, but hell yeah, this game is awesome. Very catchy music. Love this game. Very cool Mega Man-like action platformer with like 8 stages. Very cute little character and all that. Willow, you are great. I'm trying to remember some lines from this. Well, I was going to pick my finger. Well, that was the right one, you idiot. I'm misquoting it, but I love Willow. Willow's great. And actually, this is a Capcom Zelda-like action RPG, so you can't go wrong with that. Level up, chop up enemies. You play as Warwick Davis, the little Willow character. Win, lose, or draw. We used to play this all the time, my mom and I. Playing it now seems absolutely ridiculous. My brother and I tried this, and we were like, we might as well do this without the game. We might as well just have pieces of paper and draw shit. It was ass. But I remember liking it back in the day. One game I still need is Classic Concentration. That was one we played all the time, my mom and I. And last but not least, well, maybe least, winter games. All right, moving on to... So, guys, that is my NES collection. That is one corner. We're going to have to split this up, I think, guys, into a couple live streams. That's okay. I mean, the people that are still here, I'm going to keep going, but I am going to take a quick break. So what I'll do is at least give you guys something somewhat interesting to look at. All right, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right. Okay. All right, folks. So that was the NES collection. Holy crap. That took longer than expected. I'm going to take a sip of agua. agua ahora. And I'm also going to take a little sip of my fresh brewed coffee. Yes, I use a straw. A metal one. All right, so next up, we're going to take a look at the rest of my cartridge-based games, which are in the corner here, and are kind of a pain in the ass because a lot of them don't have labels, which I'll get to. So the show rolls on. All right. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Feel free to give the video a thumbs up. That helps me a lot. Leave a comment. Let me know what games that you guys remember from your childhood. And that would be fantastic. I also have super chats available for anybody who, for whichever reason, would like to donate to the channel. Any money that I make through the channel goes into the channel. I want to make the channel better, and I want to make more content. And anybody who donates will absolutely be helping toward that goal, to getting back and being consistent. All right, guys, one of my favorite consoles. I know it's not everyone's favorite console, but I don't care. Pitfall. Oh, yeah, Pitfall's a good one. Which one did you like, Jimmy? The platformer ones or the original Atari one? The Jaguar is a beloved console. I remember walking into the Wiz for all my Northeast heads. The Wiz, we'd walk, my father and I were so excited. He was a gamer. I was born into a collection because he was a collector. And we walked into the Wiz and we just saw a full aisle dedicated to Atari Jaguar, which was so cool at the time. It was a very hyped system because it was Atari, you know, coming back after faltering for quite some time. This is one of the best games on the console. I got this the day it came out. This is the copy I got the day it came out. The Sega Genesis version of Pitfall is awesome. Yeah, I think I have that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Alien vs. Predator, first-person shooter that where you could play as the alien, the predator, or like an army grunt, a colonial marine, I suppose. Cybermorph. This became infamous because of the nerd. Where did you learn to fly? Where did you learn to fly? Anytime you bump into something, this little chick comes up and goes, where did you learn to fly? Just like that, over and over and over and over and over in the same exact intonation. Doom on the Jaguar, one of the better ports. Absolutely, this was another game I've had since the 90s. My father, I don't quite know how. One day I'll talk about this more in depth, but he had connections, maybe illegal ones, to people who got games. And so my father used to get a copy of pretty much every game that came out. We did get rid of some of those growing up to fund other consoles and stuff like that. But in the early 90s, my father was getting one copy of most games because he was a collector and player. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, an okay fighter for the Genesis or for the Jaguar, based on the movie with Jason Scott Lee, which is a good movie. Iron Soldier is actually one I picked up later in life at a yard sale, and I've yet to play it. It was one of the first yard sales I went to down here in North Carolina. Syndicate. This is a really cool game that I can't wrap my head around. I want to love this game because it's like a real-time strategy, action, what do you even call cyberpunk sort of game, isometric view, really cool sprites, really cool artwork, really cool atmosphere. But I can't get with the program with that game. Tempest 2000 has some crazy good music. This is what was the developer of this? He's known for these wild, trippy, sort of old-school arcade games. Tempest 2000 is known to be as one of the best games on the console. I didn't have this growing up, but again, I got this at the same yard sale I got Iron Soldier. I do regret getting rid of a couple of my Jaguar games. I would like to collect pretty much the entire set of Jaguar games because it holds a weird, special place in my heart. The Jaguar. Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. This is an exclusive shooter. Not a very good one, but it's okay. Ultra Vortec. This is a fighter. An exclusive fighter. Mortal Kombat sort of ripoff. It's okay. And last but not least, we have Wolfenstein 3D. This is a very good port. The Jaguar got one thing right, and that was first-person games. It was powerful enough to do them at the time. Thank you to whoever just liked the stream. I really appreciate that. Wolfenstein 3D, this is the one, aside from the PC one, that I grew up playing. All right, now we get to another one of my favorite consoles of all time. This is only a portion of my Genesis collection. A lot of them I have in box, so we'll show those momentarily. Aero the Acrobat, a really fun Sunsoft Sonic ripoff. Alien Storm, one of my favorite games growing up. I used to play this with both parents, actually. Both my parents enjoyed this game. This is Alien Storm. This is a beat-em-up, early Genesis beat-em-up, I believe developed in-house, where you just go around, you're a robot, a dude, or a chick, and you just fucking blast these really Lovecraftian, tendrily aliens. It's freaking awesome. One of my first exposures to that sort of Lovecraftian thing. Lovecraftian design. This is Alicia Dragoon. This is a game I owned as a kid, but had to pick up later as an adult, and I have beaten this game. It is quite an achievement, I will say for myself. This was a very hard game, but I persevered and beat it. Also, one of the more sought-after games on the Genesis, pretty expensive. Boogerman! This is the superior version of Boogerman when compared to the SNES version. It's not a great game, but obviously it's called Boogerman, and you flick boogers at people to kill them. It's an action platformer. It's gross. It's 90s. It is what it is. Totally unique. This is one of the craziest, most extreme and intense Contra games I have ever played. I can't get very far because it is like Super Contra on speed. It's insane. It's insane. It's a crazy game. But it's a great game, and you get to play as a wolf with a fucking assault rifle. God damn, it's cool. And the music, it's so awesome. Guys, Death Duel, let's see, I got some comments. See that Alicia Dragoon game, never heard of it or played it, but that cover art is awesome. Yes, my friend, the cover art is awesome, and the game is just as awesome in my opinion. It's almost like a shooter, like a platformer shooter, where you have different weapons and you upgrade, and you have to be on point in that game. Like Golden Axe 1 through 3, those box arts are so old school, heavy metal, and I love them. Yes, who's the guy that did a lot of the old artwork? Rick. Oh man, Italian guy, Petrucci. No, that's Dream Theater. I forget. There's a very particular style we're invoking there, or they were invoking there, and Frank Franzetti. That's his name, Franzetti. Look up his artwork, Billy. You'll really enjoy it. Believe it or not, still I've never played any of them yet. Golden Axe is great. We'll have to do that one day. That sounds fun. Oh, can I talk about the game I've been holding in my hand for a second? I'm about to put it away. Death Duel, a game I loved as a kid, and I really tried to beat this game as a kid, but man, is it brutal, and you have to be very strategic. It is basically a one-on-one arena fighter in a sort of gallery shooter kind of style, where you just got to kill these monsters. You buy these weapons from this like punk dude, and then you use the weapons carefully to take out the enemy. The problem is, if you don't choose the right weapons, you exhaust all your weaponry, and the enemy still has 3/4 of his health. It just gets to the point where trial and error is kind of ridiculous. But I like this game. It's a cool game. Down here, I might as well show these. We have, these don't have names on the label, which drives me nuts. So we have Fantasy Zone 2. These are Sega Master System, by the way. The console that came out before the Sega Genesis. Lord of the Sword. I don't know much about Lord of the Sword. Fantasy Zone 2. These are great cute-em-up shooters. And R-Type. The original, the classic R-Type that started an entire series, of which is still going on today. So, good on them. We've got Dynamite Duke. Always reminds me of Duke Nukem. Blow it out your ass. This is one of those Cabal-like gallery shooters, not unlike the Punisher game I showed earlier. My father was nicknamed the Duke by his friends and stuff, so this has a weird connection to me because my father really liked it because it had his nickname, and then I played it and I really liked it, and yada yada. So it's a really cool game, very brutal. You shoot a bunch of dudes, and then at the end of the level, you box the shit out of them, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out style. And those are really hard, really hard to get right, but I do want to sit down and beat this game one day. It's just very difficult. Dynamite Heady, this is Treasure, the first Treasure game I've talked about, I think. This is classic Treasure, where you have different heads, and it's an action platform. different heads that give you different abilities, everything from shrinking into a miniature to, making the whole fucking screen go crazy. I have beaten Dynamite Heady. It's an awesome game. Fatal Fury. I hate that this has a sticker on it, but hey, Fatal Fury is a fighting game I played quite a bit as a kid, probably more than Street Fighter. Ghouls and Ghosts. Can't beat this game. It kicks my ass in the later levels. Golden Axe. There you go, Billy, with that awesome artwork. I have Golden Axe 2 complete in box, so I'll show that in a minute. Gunstar Heroes. Another treasure game, unbelievable game. I have great fond memories of playing this with friends back in the day and trying to beat it, and still haven't beaten it. Not a very great game, but I picked it up because it has Timothy Dalton as James Bond on the front here, and yeah, I think that's pretty cool. This is James Bond 007 The Duel. It's a pretty mediocre action platformer. We've got James Pond. This is an action puzzle platformer. Obviously a play on James Bond. This had a whole series. There was like 3 of them back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. Midnight Resistance, another one I have fond memories of playing with my mother. Great music. You guys want to hear some of the best music on the Genesis? This game has it. This was an arcade game that got ported over very well. It's a Contra-esque game by, I believe, Data East. And yeah, the music will blow you away. The first level theme is absolutely incredible. Check it out right now. We've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There you go. This is a great little, I believe, yeah, this is the movie. This is the beat 'em up. I get these all mixed up, but this is a great game, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Mystic Defender. This was the sequel to a Sega Master System game that I think I have over on the other side there. I'll show you guys. I have beaten this. This is very, very difficult. Old school Sega developed goodness when they had such a great development team. X-Men Clone Wars, you gotta love these games. X-Men Clone Wars is even better than the first X-Men game. We got Turrican, another run-and-gun action platformer. These games are awesome. I prefer Super Turrican, but hey. Power Rangers movie video game is probably the game I've beaten most in my life. That game was my childhood. That's awesome. Yeah, see, the one that I played most as a kid was the Super NES Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game. I do need to sit down and play the Genesis one. Oh, Jesus. All right, Sonic and Knuckles. Obviously can't go wrong with that. I think it's weird and kind of cool that you put Sonic 3 on here and it unlocks sort of like the first DLC, but it's also its own game. This is a 32X game. I think this is the only one I have, actually. I do have a 32X in my closet somewhere. Don't play it very often. Rocket Knight Adventures. This is a great platformer I didn't play as a kid, but have as an adult. This is a not-so-great platformer. This is a good platformer that I played as a kid, and God, it was difficult. Another very brutally difficult. I always thought the cover was wild. It's got a banana, and he's, like, shooting orbs out of his mouth. It's a crazy game. That one's called Toki, Going Ape Spit, which is a very funny name. There you go. There's the Genesis one here, Jimmy. Pitfall, The Mayan Adventure. I've yet to sit down and play through this. I did rent it back in the day, and I remember enjoying it. I have fond memories of it. And I hear the Genesis version is one of the better versions you could buy. Dinosaurs for Hire. I picked this up rather over the last couple years here. This is a run-and-gun action platformer that I've wanted to play for some time. It's supposed to be pretty good. I hear mixed things about it. Where were we? The Ooze, another very unique Genesis game where you play as a puddle of toxic waste and you just go around and get bigger and kill enemies, and it's very, very unique. There's no other game like it. Can't really say there's other games like it. Very unique. Oh, cunt, motherfucker. Sorry, that was vulgar. I curse, but I don't usually get that vulgar on stream. Forgive me. Out of This World. This is a port of this got a version on every single console. So I hear this version is actually pretty good. This is a rotoscoped, what do they call them? Cinematic platformers, and that are puzzle based and very much so based on trial and error. So very cool game. Yet to play the Genesis one, to be honest. Outrun. I love Outrun, and this is a good version of it. I grew up playing Outrun in the arcade with my buddy Dom. Dom and I used to go to this arcade that opened up in my neighborhood, which was just absolutely incredible. It was within walking distance. It was a batting cage, and they had arcades, and they had a 2-player outrun cab, and we used to play this all the time in the mid 90s, mid to late 90s. So very cool. It was the greatest thing on earth. We used to get like these smoothies and just fistful of quarters. God, great times. Outrunners is a sequel to Outrun, another very fun game. Not as good as the original, in my opinion. Pit Fighter, this is one of the worst games I've ever played. As a kid, I tried to make the best of it, but as an adult, it is absolutely garbage. Bottom of the barrel garbage. But I can't get rid of it. I'm nostalgic for that one. I'm keeping it. So the Revenge of Shinobi, I have 2 copies of. This is the original copy I had from the late 80s, early 90s, my father passed down to me. And this one's interesting. Revenge of Shinobi has a few different versions. This is the first version of this game, 1.1 we'll call it, or 1.0. And this is unique and actually more sought after and rare because this has enemies, bosses like the Terminator, like Godzilla, like Spider-Man. And obviously those were all copyrighted. And so once, you know, the big studios caught wind of that, they told Sega to cease and desist. And so they fixed the game, quote unquote. They changed the enemies, changed the bosses, and those became versions 1.1, 1.2, and so forth. But this is the sought after original version. If you want to play the game in its original form, this is the only way to do it. And it's a great game with great music by Yuzo Koshiro, who did Streets of Rage music. Very different kind of music. He's one of the most diverse artists in the video game scene. And Revenge of Shinobi is brutally hard. I've never beaten it. It is very, very difficult. I've beaten Shinobi Shadow Dancer, and I've beaten Shinobi 3, but I cannot, for the life of me, get Revenge of Shinobi down. The controls are very nuanced, very difficult. Shadow of the Beast, these are Amiga games that got ported to the Genesis, which I think are... These games aren't very good, but they captured my imagination as a kid. The sheer amount of enemies and the enemy design in this game, the music, the atmosphere. The music is so fucking good. The atmosphere is wonderful, very Roger Dean-ish, if you know the artist I'm referring to. Very otherworldly, ethereal, mysterious, just very strange world. But God, is it brutally hard. It's like one-hit deaths or whatever. One life, you're gone, you're back to the beginning of the game. I play them once in a while for the atmosphere and the nostalgia, but I can't. It's very, very difficult. One of the games I have some of the fondest memories of with my father. Some of the good memories I have of my father and playing this game, Sword of Sodan. It must have been like early 90s. I was very young, 4 years old, and I was sitting on the bed with him, and he was playing with the big Genesis pad, playing Sword of Sodan and trying to get somewhere in this brutal high fantasy action game that was based on, it's an Amiga port again. And it was brutally hard, but I have it and will never get rid of it because this game, my father and I bonded over when I was young. And so Tin Head, this is a platformer that's pretty good. Vector Man is a later Genesis game that gave the Sega Genesis some more life after the Sonic hype train, and Vector Man is a very, very cool game. These were very cool games for the time. Let me see anything. Oh, we'll get to the N64 in a second. Let me come over here. I'll show you guys this. All right, this is all my boxed stuff here. First of all, I'll show you guys this stuff. This is a little Mega Man helmet, ceramic. I like this. It's kind of cool. This is a piece, this is a Sonic ring. This is a piece that my father owned, and it's one of the only pieces of my father that I have left, so it means something to me. This is my brother gave me out of a loot box one time. This is really cool, like plastic, I don't know, like little Terminator head. It's really neat. Nice detail on this, right? Yeah. We got the Turtles cartoon van here. It's got the entire cartoon set in there, which is I love prized possession of mine, and my 2 amiibo that I own still in the boxes. 2 of my favorite characters there, Donkey Kong, my brother got me, and Mega Man. All right, so I'm kind of in the light here. I'll try to get on the... So these are all Sega Master System boxed games. This is, wow, look at that price. Jeez, man, $2.99. Probably not much more expensive these days, but still. So we got Action Fighter. Now, the Sega, they had rip-offs of a lot of the NES games and a lot of the other arcade games. This is Action Fighter. This is a Spy Hunter rip-off, but it's a very good one. Alien Syndrome. That remind you of anything? Xenomorph from Alien, of course. This is an Alien game, essentially, as close to an Alien game as we got back in the time. Altered Beast. This is not as good of a game as the original Genesis, which I don't own right now because I got rid of. I had a broken copy, so I got rid of it, and I need a copy of that. So one day I'll rectify that. Choplifter, Cloudmaster. This is a shooter. I've yet to play this one. It's very colorful. That's what I love about the Sega Master System is the color palette. It was arguably better than the NES. Double Dragon. A lot of people say this is one of the better versions of Double Dragon. Ghost House. Did I show? Do I? That's weird. I didn't show the Double Dragon games. Oh, yeah. It looks like I skipped a lot of these here. But DuckTales. I love DuckTales. Double Dragon. Dig Dug. Dick Tracy. Wanted to kill myself playing that game as a kid. The Double Dragon Trilogy. The infamous Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, I showed you the Sega Master System cartridges and how they looked. They were pretty plain Jane. This is an interesting one. They also had, I think, 7 or 8 games that they released on, oh God, on what they, these cards, essentially. It's kind of like Turbo Graphics. It's got the manual there, Ghost House. This is a cool little puzzle platformer that is difficult, but kind of fun. And, I don't know, I like this kind of stuff. It's a spooky game for the SMS, the Sega Master System. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. I've worked very hard at this collection. Global Defense. This is actually a kind of unique shooter. I think it's pretty cool. Golvelius. Golvelius is a Zelda ripoff for the Sega Master System. This is the Sega's response to Zelda. And it's pretty damn good. It's not Zelda, but it's pretty damn good. Kenseiden. Kenseiden, I think, is the this is the first game, and then Mystic Defender, which I showed you on the Genesis down there, is they're part of the same series, if I'm not mistaken. Look at that artwork. That's pretty badass. It's a side-scrolling action platformer, not unlike Shinobi. All right, we've got Outrun on the Sega Master System as well, which is not as good as a port as the Genesis, of course, but Penguin Land, a fun little puzzle platformer. Can't go wrong with that. It's very fun, very nice. This is a really cool one that I need the manual for, but the game's in there. One of the more sought-after Master System games, because really only the only way you could play Phantasy Star. There's other ways on other consoles, but if you want to play it the original way, this is the way to go. So, yeah, this is an early turn-based RPG from Japan. One of the earliest, in fact, that I've yet to play, but I will. I want the Rambo 3 game on the Genesis. That game I have fond memories of. This game I haven't played much of, but I remember trying it and it being frustratingly difficult. Rastan. This is a Conan the Barbarian kind of thing, where, it's an action platformer. This was an arcade game, and not a bad game. I have played it quite a bit. You gotta love that. Rounds 7, Scenes 21. Shinobi, a game that I still love, the original game, which is different than the later games because it's more, you have to save the hostages kind of thing. But a fun game and a good port on the Sega Master System. The one I grew up with was the NES one, though. Tengen cartridge. Wonder Boy and Monster Land. This is one of the original Metroidvania-like games. Wonder Boy and Monster Land. You turn into different monsters to get to different areas, and you fight enemies, level up, collect gold. Very classic game and still holds up very well. Zillion 1 and 2. Zillion was an anime back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. And this one is kind of like a Metroidvania action platformer. And this one, Zillion 2, with some cool artwork there, is more like an action platformer without the Metroidvania elements. Or was this one? Yeah, that's how it goes. It's been a while, guys, since I played these. This one, Acme All-Stars, not a lot of people talk about this one, but this is a really fun sports game that has basketball, soccer, and a couple other little mini games. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. 14 all. Each character has his own moves. Yeah, everybody has special moves. Really fun little arcadey sports game there. Have I missed the horror DVDs? No, you have not. I believe, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this, George, but I might have to split this up into 2 different live streams because it's taken longer than expected. I've covered this corner. I've yet to do all of that. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, but you have not missed the horror DVDs. No, you have not. And I know a lot of my subscribers and my audience are tuning in for that. And I apologize. I did want to show everybody my video game collection because this is a big part of my life as well as movies. So Aladdin, this is a very good, hand-drawn, beautiful Aladdin game, action platformer that a lot of people love, and I love too, but not as much as the Super NES. Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, a game I played a lot as a kid, where you do like rock, paper, scissors to beat bosses. It was ridiculous, but a memorable game, very nostalgic, very quirky and Japanese. Ariel, The Little Mermaid, a good Little Mermaid game. Castle of Illusion, one of the games I have the fondest memories of. My mother loved this game. Great music. Good game. I love that game. Such a good atmosphere. Classic Disney platformer. Chakan. I loved Chakan as a kid, but I never got very far because boy, oh boy, is this game brutal. I love the artwork. I love everything about the game. The music, the design of the main character. How can you go wrong with that? Well, you can go wrong by making the game way too brutally difficult and obtuse in sections that just will baffle you beyond belief. It's cool, bro. Enjoying. Thank you, George. I'm glad that people who are tuning in for the movies are enjoying the video game stuff. I may, maybe I'll do the horror after. I'm not exactly sure how I'm doing this. Like I said, I'm just kind of winging it, which is usually how I do things. Columns. This is a great Genesis puzzler. This was the response to Tetris, and this was Sega's response to the puzzle mania that was going on in the early 90s with video games. I really love, do I prefer Tetris? Yes, but Columns is still a really great puzzle game. You can have hours of fun with that. Cool Spot, a really nice looking sort of digitized graphics action platformer that is based on, Cool Spot, which was, what was it, the 7-Up? Yeah, there's the branded 7-Up. We had a lot of these branded games back in the day. And if you see that FS, that actually means I got it from the free shelf from one of my old jobs, Ed McKay. So for whatever reason, this was on the free shelf, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And it's like, complete in the box. So, yeah, my old job was baffling. That's why it no longer exists. Crew Ball. This is a Motley Crue endorsed or trademarked pinball game. My mother loved this game as a kid. When I was a kid, she played this all the time, this pinball game. Decap Attack. It's a really cool game. This has a different title in Japan, but really cool artwork. Very fun action platformer. Very difficult. It gives you only a few lives to get through the game. Few continues, but it's brutal, but it's a really cool and quirky game. Desert Strike. Sorry, guys. Wanted to open this. Yeah, Desert Strike. These are... Jesus. These are fun games. I really like the strike games. Jungle Strike, Desert Strike, all that kind of stuff. This one, these are isometric chopper games, essentially, where you just blow shit up and you save people and you take on missions. This is a really cool series of games that not many people talk about these days. DJ Boy, I love the artwork on this one back in the day. Very stylized, very unique, by Kaneko. This was an arcade game, one of the few Genesis games that doesn't have shots of it on the back. But I always thought this character was kind of like a mascot for Sega, but I grew up and learned that it wasn't really that. But I always thought it fit the sort of Sega Genesis era very well. This port, the arcade version is apparently better. This port is brutally difficult. They really limit your lives and everything and your hits that you could take. It's a very cool game, though. It's side-scrolling platformer on rollerblades, and you just kick the crap out of dudes. This is a Castlevania-esque, not a terrible game, Bram Stoker's Dracula, based on the movie from the 90s, Francis Ford Coppola. We've got Echo the Dolphin, the classic series that, again, is kind of forgotten by Sega and not many people talk about. Great intuitive controls, beautiful design. The gameplay is okay. It's more about the atmosphere and the music and the sort of surrealist vibe that this game gives off. Tides of Time, I think, gets it a little bit better, but still, for some reason, I just can't get into these games. They're difficult. I need to sit down and try again because it's been many, many years. eSWAT, another game I got off the free shelf. I think I got the case off the free shelf. And this is a game that I loved as a kid. Actually, my mom liked this one quite a bit. But we never got very far. As an adult, I got a good ways in, but I got screwed up at this one level that is just brutally difficult. But yeah, City Under Siege is a Japanese game. Very cool. You transform from a cop into like a robot kind of thing. And yeah, very hard. You have to have, very good instincts to get through that game. We have Fatal Fury 2, Forgotten Worlds. This is kind of a spiritual successor to Legendary Wings on the NES. And this is another two-player shoot-'em-up kind of game. Golden Axe 2. There's some really cool artwork there for Golden Axe. Love this game. Two-player goodness. The best Golden Axe game, I would say. Green Dog. This game I beat pretty recently. I loved playing this at my friend Justin's house back in the 90s. And he didn't really like it, but I thought it was pretty unique. And I actually sat down and beat this as an adult pretty recently, and it was fun. Joe and Mac. I actually need the Joe and Mac on the SNES, but I do have the Sega one right now, which is more sought after, admittedly. Jungle Book, Jungle Strike. Yeah, this one, Jungle Strike, I still need the cartridge for. Another Jurassic Park game. This one's very different than the NES and Super NES ones. This is more of an action platformer, where the old ones are more like, or the Nintendo ones are more like top-down Zelda-style action games. Kid Chameleon, I always loved this artwork. I always loved this game. It's a very difficult game, but it definitely captured my imagination as a kid. You have all these different heads you could put on and abilities you can gain. It's a very hard game that is unforgiving, but very iconic and emblematic of this era of Sega, 92, 91, where I have a lot of fond memories of, despite being very young. Clax, a game that when my parents were together, they played quite a bit. And I have very fond memories of laying at the end of the bed, watching them play Clax for hours upon hours, and going crazy, with the little blocks that are boom, 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 and then they fall and they go, ah! This is a great arcade game. There's really no puzzle games like it. I still play this game on occasion. It's very fun. Last Battle, this is actually Hakuto no Ken, which is Fist of the North Star in Japan. They brought it over to America, changed the name from Fist of the North Star to Last Battle. They also removed the blood sprays that were iconic from the original show. What was his... Kenshiro? Was that his name? We've got, let's see... You're Azarak. Yeah, Arzak was definitely not the name of the character from the Japanese show. I want to say it was Kenshiro. And, he used to hit these enemies in their pressure points, and then he would walk away, and the enemy would be like, ha, 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 you think you've defeated me? And then, Kenshiro would be walking away, and the enemy would explode into, like, a pile of guts and gore and blood, and it was awesome. In America, they removed all that cool stuff. So we got a cool action game without the blood, whereas Japan got the real game. But I loved it as a kid. I knew no different. Like Crusader, this is Treasure's attempt at an isometric action-adventure RPG, which is very good, but I haven't really sat down and gotten into. Thank you guys for anyone who's sticking with me. I really appreciate it. Feel free to give the live stream a thumbs up. That'll help me quite a bit. Lost Vikings, a recent edition. This is one I rented back in the day quite a bit. This is a action puzzle platformer by Blizzard, actually, believe it or not. And here we have another McDonald's game. A couple McDonald's games here. This is the best McDonald's game because it was made by Treasure. This is an action platformer made by Treasure with the McDonald's trademark, but Treasure obviously had full control over the development of this game, and they made one hell of a game. This is an awesome Awesome game. If not a little tiny bit easier than most Treasure games. Mercs, a game that my mother and I used to play. We always wished it was 2 players, like the arcade game was. This is a 1-player version of Mercs. This is kind of, I always thought of this as kind of a spiritual successor to Jackal, even though Jackal was Konami and this is Capcom. Or like maybe this is a spiritual successor to Commando. Fun game, very difficult on the Genesis. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Yes, I've had this since I was young, and it's been kept in very, very good condition. And obviously this goes for quite a bit now. This is actually a good game. This is a good Michael Jackson game, very unique, kind of like Shinobi in ways, I will say. Very much like Shinobi in some ways, but also differentiates itself in very cool ways. Can't go wrong with the artwork. I loved the Moonwalker movie as a kid, the Michael Jackson film. Nobody seems to talk about it anymore. But in this game, you save children. You save children. From who? I'm not sure. Maybe yourself. Maybe. I don't know. Mick and Mac Global Gladiators. This is another McDonald's game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, McDonald's game. Not as good as the NES one or the Treasure one. This has got some slippery platform controls that drive me crazy, but it's not a terrible game. Mortal Kombat! It's the OG Mortal Kombat with the blood, damn it. Miss Pac-Man, I love this game on the Genesis. I thought it played marvelously well, fantastically well. Mutant League Football, a really fun arcadey football game with aliens and blood and gore, and it's a very, very cool game. Quackshot, a game I have sat down and beat. This is an action. This is a action, but kind of like a puzzle platformer, almost a Metroidvania in ways. You have to go back to levels once you have power-ups to unlock more of the level. This is a very fun game, very difficult. Gotta have patience. Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's Adventure. I'm sorry, Invention, which is one of the better Ren and Stimpy games because it really captures the vibe of the show. But not a great game, just like the rest of them, really. Road Rash 2. I think this is a great game. This is probably my favorite Road Rash. I've had this since I was a little boy. And it was always fun beating the hell out of, fellow motorcycle drivers with chains and whips. So, can't go wrong with that. RoboCop v. The Terminator. This is the version to have because it has the blood and guts and gore. The Super Nintendo version has a cooler box, admittedly. I used to own it, but I got rid of it because this is the version to have and play. I'm not going to play the Super Nintendo version. So, played this growing up. The combination of these two together, it was obviously amazing and mind-blowing as a child, and the game is just as cool as the concept. Here's another boxed version. I have 2 copies of Revenge of Shinobi, and this is the later version of which I was speaking about, version 1.2 or 1.3 or whatever. Shadow Dancer, a game that I loved as a kid, and I have beaten as an adult. One of the harder Genesis games I have beaten, and it's an old-school Shinobi game, more in line of the Shinobi style of gameplay. And you have a dog that attacks people, and yeah, it's very cool. This is my favorite Shinobi game. Hands down. Shinobi 3, despite not having Yuzo Koshiro's music, still has some incredible music. And some of the best level design. And this game is so effing cool. One of the best games on the Genesis, hands down. Soldiers of Fortune is another fun 2-player, top-down, heavy barrel style or Akari Warrior style action game. Really fun. It's got a little bit more to it than that, but it's a very fun game. Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3. I don't need to talk about those much. Those are classics. My favorite being 2. Speaking of Michael Jackson, there's some lore behind this with Michael Jackson actually having something to do with the composition of some of the music. So, very cool. Look into it for yourself if you want to know more detail, because I don't want to get the detail wrong. Sonic Spinball is a Sonic pinball game. Great game. Space Harrier 2, a game I played a lot as a kid. Loved the arcade version of this game, but the Sega Genesis version was really cool. Steel Empire, a game I have played and beat. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. You play as a blimp, actually, which makes this one rather unique. Awesome artwork, and you just blow the shit out of everything in the sky. It's a shoot-'em-up. It's fantastic. Yeah, guys, I think I'm going to do the rest of this for today, and then I'm going to call it. I'm getting a bit of a headache from talking so much, if I'm being honest. But hey, I think 2 hours is pretty strong. We've got Streets of Rage, one of my favorite game series of all time. Streets of Rage 2 is one of my top 10 games of all time. Yuzo Koshiro's music is something I listen to way more often than any individual should. I absolutely love it. I even have it on vinyl. Great beat 'em ups, the best, the best. And also, I always forget Motohiro Kawashita. I think was the person that co-produced the music with Koshiro. Strider this is the version to play if you don't have access to the arcade game, I suppose. I even think this is I think this is just as good as the arcade game. The artwork, not so great. They switched it up for the American audiences and gave it this like Logan's Run feel. I don't know why. At least it has like the Moscow style architecture there. This is a great action platformer. I have beaten. It's a fun game. It's not too hard. It's a classic. T2. I have this as a novelty. This isn't a great game. It's a light gun shooter that doesn't support... Oh, yeah, it does support the Menacer. So maybe one day I'll actually sit down and play it with the Menacer. That'd be fun. Tailspin. This is more Disney games on the Genesis here, which were very good. This was kind of an open world quack shot style game. We have... All the Tiny Toon games are really fun. This one's by Konami, and this was one of my favorite Tiny Toons games. Such an elaborate platformer with a lot of cool things to do, a lot of different gameplay styles. Very fun. ToeJam and Earl. My father's name was Earl, so we had he had an affinity for this game for obvious reasons. And we used to play this two-player all the time. Such a unique, always changing game with randomly generated levels, and have to gather up all the ship pieces. Great music. Bum, bum. Very funky soundtrack, hip-hop vibes. ToeJam and Earl 2, or ToeJam and Earl in Panic on Funkatron, is a very, very different game than the first one. That's what's cool about the series. They're always innovating the series. Super colorful, beautiful-looking game. You know, it's a platformer, more of an adventure platformer with some action. Very strange, but very cool. Great music. Nothing like it. Truck's Done, a game my mother loved and was very good at when I was younger. I sucked at this game. I still suck at this game, but she was very good at it. I love the artwork. This is one of the harder games to find on the Genesis now. Vector Man. Vector Man's a good one. Fast-paced platformer, action platformer. Wiz and Liz, a very quirky, weird puzzle platformer. Not a bad game. I like it because it's 2 players. World of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. One of the best 2-player experiences on the Genesis. It's very short, but very fun. You'll have fun with this. In a couple hours, you'll beat it. Not very difficult, but it has some really unique puzzles and platforming. A good follow-up to Castle of Illusion. World Series Baseball, the only baseball game I have on the Genesis because I have fond memories of it. I always thought it was cool how big the players were, and yeah, it was a fun game. I was a baseball fan growing up. Still am. X-Men on the Genesis. All right, guys, I'm losing steam here. I gotta be honest. Let's see. Jolly Good Show 2019. You mentioned Outrunners. I used to play this game at my local Chuck E. Cheese quite a bit when I was a kid. That's awesome. That's why I love this. So get the nostalgia going. That's very cool. Kablam. I remember that Nickelodeon show. Thank you for tuning in, Jolly Good Show. If you're enjoying the live stream, guys, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Give it a like. That would help me quite a bit. I appreciate it. Cliffhanger on the Sega CD here. This game I liked as a kid. I'm sure it doesn't hold up quite well, but I love the movie Cliffhanger. Can't go wrong with the movie. Crime Patrol, probably my most expensive and sought-after Sega CD game. You can play this with the game gun, which I don't have right now. Crime Patrol, one of those bad full-motion video games, which I love so much. Eternal Champions, really cool fighting game for the... this one's water damage, but a very cool fighting game that I've had since the 90s on Sega CD. Really cool fatalities, very cinematic, very unique collection of characters. It's a Mortal Kombat ripoff by Sega and Deepwater, but it's still a good one. One of my prized Sega CD possessions here, if I don't break everything, is Final Fight CD. This is the version of Final Fight to play. It's 2 players. It's got CD quality music that was a soundtrack that will just knock your fucking socks off. Go play it right now. Sega CD Final Fight CD soundtrack. It is fantastic. It's the same music from the Super and the arcade, but it is CD quality. So we're talking an actual band playing these games, or playing the music. We've got, this is annoying. We've got Mansion of the Hidden Souls. This is like an haunted house sort of point-and-click game that looks absolutely miserable in terms of graphics, but hey, it's kind of cool. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I've had this since I was a kid. This is probably one of the worst Power Rangers games. I thought it was cool as a kid, though, because I didn't understand the gimmick actually tricked me. I thought I was actually controlling things on the screen, but I wasn't. It's just a what do you call, quick time event game where you just get a score based on how you do, and an episode of the show plays. That's really it. Nothing you do has any bearing on what happens in the game. Who Shot Johnny Rock? This one's supposed to be really cool. A cool FMV video game that has its tongue in his cheek. I still want to play this. Astal, the only Sega CD game that doesn't have its name on the bind for whatever reason. This is a beautiful hand-drawn watercolor-like, beautiful hand-drawn graphics, action platformer, very difficult. It is punishing, really intuitive controls, treasure-like. Bug. Steven Spielberg said that his kids loved this game back in the day. That was the big thing. But hey, Bug is what it is. It's a 2.5D platformer that is pretty fun if you like platformers. I like this game quite a bit. Back in the day, I still like it. Sega Saturn had a couple unique Sega platforming games, sort of 2.5D platformers. This one had really interesting graphics. Clockwork Knight. I believe Clockwork Knight even got a sequel. I don't own. Can't get it in there. All right. Coming down here. Who Shot Johnny Rock? That's right. Who Shot JR? Coming down here, we have Crime Wave. This is sort of a progenitor to the Grand Theft Auto series. Came out around the time, I guess, of the first Grand Theft Auto. But this game is freaking awesome. I used to play this on the Saturn all the time. Let's go around and top-down isometric view. Blowing the shit out of everything. Mission-based, too, actually. Daytona USA, one of the few racing games I have in my collection. This is an arcadey racing game, Sega Classic. Not as good as the arcade. I played it in the arcade back in the day. Mass Destruction, I gotta be honest, I haven't played this one. I hear this game is pretty cool. Play a little tank blowing the shit out of everything. Panzer Dragoon Zwei 2, which is an on-rail shooter, just like the first Panzer Dragoon, which I don't own, unfortunately. Scud, this is a light gun game. It's like a side-scrolling light gun game where you shoot things that are ahead of you kind of thing. I don't remember much about it. I'll choose first person or standard side scroller. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I remember having fond memories of this game when the Saturn came out. I liked the character. I thought he was pretty cool. The Disposable Assassin. Funny name. Not a bad game. Fun game. This one I picked up at a thrift shop years and years ago. I've had it on the PlayStation for forever. I'm very nostalgic for this game. My mother and I used to play this, and my brother and sister. Actually, we all used to play this sort of light gun shooter that you can't use the light gun. But it's Revolution X. It's featuring Aerosmith, based on the Aerosmith sort of brand. And you just shoot the shit out of all the New World Order bad guys. It's crazy. Virtua Cop. This is a classic light gun shooter that you could use the stunner with. Why you couldn't use the stunner on this game is beyond me. So you got to use the controller. This is actually a Dreamcast game that doesn't really fit anywhere else or with the rest of my Dreamcast games, so I put it here. This is Gunlord. This is a game that came out way after the release of the Dreamcast. I want to say 10 years after they stopped producing games or so. And this is a Turrican-style action game, which I have yet to play, but this is a very expensive game now, I'm pretty sure, unless they reprinted it. Ganrodo. Ganrodo. Here we have a little tiny section of my YouTube video gamer, video game YouTuber section. I'm a big nerd fan, always have been since the beginning. And I have most of his Blu-rays here. I want the entire set. One day, maybe. Pat the NES Punk, I love his work too. I always have. Still watch his podcast, the completely unnecessary one. Screw Attack 8-Bit Glory DVD set. I just picked this up from a flea market a couple days ago, and I thought this was the coolest thing in the world. This is hard to find. Screw Attack is early video game journalism, video-based journalism. of the same era as the rest of the stuff here. So I think it's really cool, and I was so happy to find that. Some of my boxed NES, not very exciting boxed NES games, I'll give you that. But these are arch rivals, the progenitor to NBA Jam. This is NBA Jam, but on the NES, and not quite as good. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. There's my boy George Carlin on an NES game. Not a good game. Guerrilla War. This is kind of like Akari Warriors, SNK's version of that. This is a better game than Akari Warriors. Hunt for Red October. Not a bad shooter. It's kind of a unique kind of a shooter based on the old movie. Great movie. Iron Tank. This got damaged while I was moving it, unfortunately. Jeopardy. Jordan vs. Bird. Kung Fu. There you go. Really beat up box, unfortunately. Monopoly, Paperboy, which I still need the cartridge for. Ring King, boxing game. Tecmo NBA basketball. To the Earth, light gun game, I'm pretty sure. Yep, light gun. Wheel of Fortune and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Very difficult game, hard to understand. Unique, rare title, I will say. Rare developed. And then last but not least, I'll talk about my few PSP games and my Switch collection. When's part 2 of your video game collection? That's a good question. I'm probably going to try to do it tomorrow afternoon. That'd probably be the best time. I'll have it scheduled so you guys could tune in. But I'll figure it out tonight, and I'll let you guys know tonight. Coming down here, we have the AVGN 1 and 2 Deluxe Switch game. These are action platformers, brutally hard on purpose, and all within the universe of the nerd. Astro Knight. This is a little, 8-bit style. It says 1-bit style, black and white Metroidvania. It looks really cute. I haven't played it. Axiom Verge. This is the special edition. One of the coolest Metroidvanias I've ever played. Made by one guy who did the design, the programming, the music, everything. It's just phenomenal. Phenomenal game. I used to drum, actually, to the music. The music was so good. Bayonetta 1 and 2. I recently played through these games. Some of my favorite games ever. I slept on them for far too long. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. This is one of the best games of all time, in my opinion. This is a roguelike game, one of the first I had ever played, where you play through, you have runs, you die, you lose all your stuff, you start again. My sister, infamously, I love you, Nicole, she has put thousands of hours into this game. This is the only game she plays, and the only game that exists in her world. And I think it's pretty awesome. She's pretty damn good at it. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This is a game I picked up on the Switch here. I heard it was compared to Jet Grind Radio, or Jet Set Radio. Carry On, a very unique Metroidvania where you play as Lovecraftian monster that gets bigger the more you eat people. And it got a little obtuse towards the middle of the game, and I got stuck. I got to go back and try to beat it. Cave Story Plus. This is another game I got stuck on. I need to go back and play this. This is a classic Metroidvania at this point. Really kicked off Metroidvania resurgence. Chasm, another Metroidvania. You'll see a pattern here. Roguelikes and Metroidvanias. That's what I collect on the Switch. Children of Morta, a great roguelike game. Sort of like Binding of Isaac. Celeste, a great action platformer. Twitch-based action platformer. Twitchy action platformer. Awesome game with a great story. A lot of people love that game. I do too. Cuphead, a run-and-gun Contra game. Contra-style game, I should say, with a Max Fleischer-style animation style. Great game. I recently been playing this with my brother. We're getting our asses handed to us, but it's very fun. Trial and error. Dandara, Metroidvania I haven't played. Darkest Dungeon, a really unique dungeon crawler, Lovecraftian dungeon crawling RPG. Roguelike. Demon Throttle, I haven't played this, but it's kind of like a shooter. It looks like a shooter. Dusk, here's a boomer shooter. I've not played yet. Dust and Elysian Tale. This is a Metroidvania, hand-drawn watercolor kind of graphics. It looks beautiful. Haven't played it. One of the more sought-after games on the Switch. Ender Lilies. This is another Metroidvania, Symphony of the Night style game. Enter the Gungeon, another roguelike. Guacamelee. This is a great Metroidvania, luchador style. Hollow Knight, Metroidvania. Hunt Down. Infernax, Iron Fury, this is a great boomer shooter. Scarlet Symphony, this Castlevania-like game. Mega Man 11, oh, such a great Mega Man game. I love this one. Mummy Demastered, another Metroidvania. Ori, Metroidvania. Owlboy, Metroidvania. Record of Lodoss War, Metroidvania. It's a Grand Theft Auto style top-down open world game. It's awesome. Not as good. This one is better than Shakedown Hawaii, which would come out later by the same company. Risk of Rain, I've never played 2, but God, I put a ton of hours into the first game, and I really loved the first Risk of Rain. Everybody says the second one's better, though. Rogue Galaxy, I think this game is fantastic. It's one of the first roguelikes I played. Sakuna, Rise and Ruin, haven't played it, but it's Metroidvania-ish. Shakedown Hawaii, that's the sequel to Retro City Rampage. Shovel Knight, a great old-school style platformer, 8-bit style platformer. Love that game. Cinemora, this is a shooter I've yet to play, a story-driven shooter, actually. Slain, this is a heavy metal sort of Castlevania, Metroidvania kind of game. We've got Sonic Mania and Sonic Racing, both two incredibly cool games. SteamWorld Dig, one of my favorite Metroidvania games ever. SteamWorld Dig 2, such a great atmosphere. I was sick when I played through it, and it was such a cool experience. Not being sick, but playing through it while sick. Streets of Rage 4, one of the best beat-em-ups ever made. Some of the great music in gaming of the last 10 years. Shredder's Revenge, a game I can't get into as much as others seem to be able to, but a very good beat-em-up. Toe Jam and Earl, sequel to the original series. This is a spiritual successor to the first game, and they nail it. They get it damn close to the original. It's a great reboot. Unsighted, this is like an isometric action RPG. We've got Wargroove, which if you like Advance Wars, you'll love this game. This is Advance Wars for the Switch. It's a rebooted version, kind of. Yoku's Island Express. It's a pinball Metroidvania, if I'm not mistaken. Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles. This has Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, two different versions of it, actually. I have played through that. It's awesome. Exit. This is a cool action puzzle game. Jeanne d'Arc, a strategy game. And Patapon, a game I've never played, but I hear really great things about. All right, guys, I got to be honest, I am exhausted, so I'm going to call it for today, and I'm going to set up a live stream for tomorrow. I'll let you guys know tonight. I'll schedule it and do it. It'll be probably after 4 o'clock tomorrow, but we'll finish up the video games and hopefully get to the horror DVD collection. I just want to thank everybody for watching this live stream. Anybody who's stuck in the whole time, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. This is a long one. And if you want to give it a thumbs up, feel free to do so. And if you want to do a super chat, feel free to do that. It'll help support the channel. Comment below what some of your favorite stuff I showed off is, some of the stuff that you've picked up lately. I'd love to know what you guys have. And thank you all so much. I appreciate everybody checking in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Peace.